Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.
It was 75 years ago that sports car lovers first took to the streets of this sleepy little lakeside village in upstate New York and held a Grand Prix to determine which drivers in their cars would reign supreme. With a layout of over 6.5 miles and spectators cheering just feet away from this and on the sidewalks just inches away from the pavement, it didn't take long before the need for safety, not only for the drivers but for the spectators also, led to the construction of a purpose-built facility in 1956. In addition to being the first permanent site of the United States Formula One Grand Prix, tonight's venue has also played host to Can-Am, Trans Am, IndyCar, NASCAR, and of course IMSA. Hi everyone and welcome to Watkins Glen International and season number 7 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge presented by Performa Elite and Buttkicker here on Apex Racing TV. I'm Greg Ginsburg, and joining me in the announce booth as always for round number 6 is Grandpa Larry McLeod along with Lee Thompson in the virtual production trailer, bringing you all the best views of tonight's action. And so we're here at the Mecca for 90 minutes tonight, one of our 2 endurance races this season in the World Challenge. And of course, we've got our GT3 and GTP cars that will be filling the grid. But before we start, I hear something big kind of happened in your world today, Larry.
Yeah, you finally get to call me Grandpa, as Greg. I've been calling you old for years, but yes, my daughter had a wonderful, healthy baby boy this morning, so we're all celebrating. And what better way to celebrate than to be calling a race from one of my favorite racetracks in the world, Watkins Glen. I love this place, and the color of blue, just to celebrate the baby boy being born, even makes it better, as this place is surrounded in that baby blue Armco. It's going to make tonight that much more special. So, Greg, how are you?
I am doing very, very well, Larry, and I imagine, although I'm quite tired at this point after having spent an entire weekend calling races at Summit Point Raceway, the real Summit Point Raceway, I think you might have me beat this time.
We're excited. Yeah, we're excited here, but and I'm sure we're all going to be tired, but these drivers tonight are going to be extra tired. This is a 90-minute race tonight, a little bit more endurance than maybe we get used to. This track being the roller coaster it is, you can't really take a breath or a break around this place. It's going to wear our drivers out as much as maybe, being around childbirth. It's maybe not quite, but close. But it's going to be a good time here at the Glen.
Yeah, we'll see if anybody here can relate to that one. All right, so Larry, let's do this. I think that's a great segue. Let's turn things over to Kevin Ford. He's going to give us our track guide tonight of a track I think most of our viewers have probably seen and probably know about. It's Watkins Glen International.
Welcome, everyone, to the incredible Watkins Glen circuit located here in beautiful Watkins Glen, New York. We are just up the road from Lake Seneca, and we are going to take you around a track that has just incredible character. It is a gem to drive. Well, let's get started as we head up the front straightaway. Pit area to the right, main grandstands to the left as we get ready to tackle this 3.45-mile road course. Across the stripe, we'll head down into this very fast entry of Turn 1. It is known as the 90, and it is a very tight right-hander. Very busy at the start of races here, as you can imagine. Heading up the uphill S's here, we'll keep this throttle wide open up through this section. As we head back to the right, to exit out onto the backstretch. First slipstream opportunity for drivers here as they head down into the famous bus stop here at the Glen. Come down on the brakes. We'll take a little bit of curb on entry, not too much here. We'll come right back to throttle. Run up off the exit here and set up our entry into the carousel. We'll come right to the bottom, use that curb there to help get that car to rotate. Back to the right here, down through the chute, and into this left-hander. Very fast left-hander, love coming off this corner. You can really carry a lot of speed down the hill here into what's known as the toe. We are in the boot section of the course here at the Glen. Known as the boot because an aerial view actually looks like this is a boot here in this portion of the course. Now we'll head to the heel of the boat. Heavy braking here down into this right-hander. Get that car to rotate, track out up off the exit, come back to the right, set up the re-entry into the main portion of the course here, the NASCAR portion of the course. Back to throttle, back up through the gears. We'll head into turn 11 here. Very fast left-hand sweeper, come right back to throttle, let that car track up. We'll come back to the left and set up our entry for the final corner here at the Glen as we head up off the exit and race down the front straightaway here towards the finish line. There you go. There is your track guide for the beautiful Watkins Glen. Thank you for being with us.
And thanks so much to Kevin Ford for tonight's track guide of Watkins Glen International. And Larry, like you said, it may not be like giving childbirth, but these racers for 90 minutes are going to constantly be having to think about strategy, constantly going to be looking in that rearview mirror to see when drivers might try to push the car deep into the bus stop. It's going to be a rough evening on what is a very fast track, but there are also certainly some portions of this track that can get a driver caught out, and also, as we've seen here many times, certain places that can cause some very big wrecks if that focus starts to wane.
Yeah, I talked to a couple of drivers at one of the races I was out at the Glen actually with you about a month or so ago, and I talked to some drivers and they said the one thing that makes it one of their favorite tracks is that it is a roller coaster. There's not a flat corner on this track. Most of them have got this crazy camber gains, and they said you go to most racetracks in analog world, you teach your brain what a corner loading feels like. Well, here you have to retrain your brain because the G's you take is so much higher. It still plays out the same way in the sim. You'll attack a corner that looks like it's a certain radius, and you got to go harder. You got to go faster. You got to get the throttle earlier because the camber gains around this place let you get away with it, and it takes a while to get used to it. There's a nice little
Aaron
wreck.
Beaver, yeah. And you can see right there going into the chute as Aaron Beaver had some issues with the car during qualifying. Yeah, it's again, it's one of those. I think roller coasters is probably a very, very apropos description of what this track is like.
Yep.
And that there are other courses that we've raced. Barber comes to mind, where your hands are always moving and it seemingly you're always changing direction. That's not necessarily the case here, but the G loads that you get put on, placed on you when you go through some of these corners because of the banking is, I think, unlike most traditional road courses that the World Challenge certainly goes to, and unlike most race courses in North America.
Yeah, and you think about other endurance tracks, world famous, something like Le Mans, Daytona, Sebring. There's a lot of straightaways at those places, and you're basically just straight away, get into a series of corners. And obviously at Sebring, they talk about the bumps. Well, here, they do 6-hour real-life endurance races, and that's what kind of a sample of it is what this 90-minute race tonight is going to be. It's that endurance of the constant undulations and the constant adjusting to those different camber changes, and then we throw in multi-class racing, and now you're adjusting to traffic in the middle of it. I think it's exciting. I think it's a great venue for any race car, whether it be V's or whether it be GTPs. I think this place is the most fantastic racetrack, certainly in North America, if not one of the best in the world. And we're going to see some of that tonight.
Indeed, we are. All right, as we watch Racer X here, and I'm trying to, that's, I think, Joey Rutledge in the Ferrari. I'm not seeing any. When we talk about bodies in white, Larry, I think Joey Rutledge is running one this evening here. Good on him, and thanks to the great folks at the virtual Ferrari factory for turning out that machine for him. All right, so we've got our drivers. They're heading out for qualifying right now. There's the paint for Joey. They're heading out for their qualifying session, and as we always do in the World Challenge, we're giving them 15 minutes, and we give them, as part of that 15 minutes, 4 opportunities, 4 flying laps in order to set their fastest time and set the grid for this evening's race. They have what is known as a lone qualifying session, where it appears to each one of the drivers as though they have the track all to themselves. So they don't have anybody, they don't have the draft to contend with, they don't have somebody spinning out in front of them to contend with. It's just them, their race car, and Watkins Glen International. And so we're starting to see some times come in for these racers. Currently, at the top of the leaderboard in the GTP field is Palakui Grant from D2D E-Racing. He was, I believe, our last round's winner. Indeed, he was at Spa-Francorchamps. Bailey Petrowski, who had won the previous 2 rounds, is currently sitting second in qualifying, almost looks like about 0.12 of a second off of Grant's time. And then we've got Ryan Reisman, the first of our Cadillac drivers in GTP, and it looks like our only Cadillac driver in the top 5 right now there, and he is a full 2+ seconds off of Grant's initial lap time. In GT3 Pro, Ryan Moraes, or probably Iago Moraes, I don't know why you called him Ryan. Iago Moraes is currently your provisional pole sitter with a lap of 1:44.82. Then Baron Glover and Chris Thorman. And we will be talking, hopefully, to Mr. Thorman in just a little while before we go racing here tonight at Watkins Glen. And in the AM category right now, Baron Glover, who actually happens to be our second fastest GT3 AM driver, probably our second fastest GT3 driver overall. He's currently your provisional pole sitter in AM with a time of 1:45.79. Then Robert Schwenkler and Lucas Dragata, your top 3. And as we do that, let's take a quick look here as we're following along Robert Schwenkler, one of our GT3 AM drivers. You'll always be able to tell the GT3 AM cars and drivers. They've got green number boards, mirrors, windshield banners, and end plates on their wings. And if you look at the timing tower, of course, they're all in green as well. For our GT3 Pro drivers, like right now, Chris Thorman in the D2D Racing Ferrari. The GT3 Pro drivers, red number boards, mirrors, windshield banners, and end plates on their wings. And of course, on the timing tower, you'll see their positioning in red as well. And then, then they're the prototype cars. And please,
they look like prototypes.
Yeah, they look like prototype cars, but I think they've got black number boards and the like. So that's
and some of them, like this one, are Cadillacs, as Ian Roode is driving in his Wrong Stuff Racing entry. And then, of course, we'll have our BMWs that Bobby Childs is driving. There you go, with the big giant kidneys sideways that the BMW front nose has.
Yeah. Basically, they just took the ugly front end of the GT3 BMW M4 and sprayed it on its sides.
Looks a lot more at home on their GTP car.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Breathes in all the air like a catfish. All right, so halfway through qualifying,
Yes.
and as you've mentioned, we got 3 laps in for some of our drivers, and waiting on the final lap for a few here. Bobby Charles rubs the wall there, coming around 9. He's sitting 6th in qualifying.
Well,
I don't think this one's
he's
going to help him.
practicing for the race.
Yeah, I don't think this one's going to help him, as he's on lap 2, finishing up his, maybe finishing his 3rd flyer actually at this point, starting his 4th. If you rub the wall that hard, I don't think his lap's going to count. Even a 0x should negate your lap around this place. Bobby's going to continue still in 6th spot.
And we jump over now. Here's Jeff Jacobs, currently our 6th fastest driver, working his 3rd flying lap. 6th fastest in GT3 AM, as he is looking to improve upon the 146.6, probably 146.55, which was his fastest time so far. And let's see, he's got just a couple corners remaining here. One more corner. Let's see if he can do that. See if he can move up from 6th position as he comes out of turn 11 onto the front straight and makes the run about halfway down the start-finish line there. And he does improve, moves up to 5th position there, and puts in a slightly faster time of 146.25. All right, real quick, Larry, let's take a look at where we stand right now in the championship, as this is the 2nd to last round. We've got one final round that's going to be in 2 weeks at the National Park Speed Road America. If we look back 2 weeks ago to Spa, Michael Brooks for The Wrong Stuff was your winner in GT3 AM, with Leonardo Dragata finishing 2nd in his Dragon Sport Porsche, and then Chad Osborne in his Redline BMW, rounding out the podium. Chuck Labano from Frito Sport, Andre Divac finished just off the podium. And the point standings in GT3 AM currently, with 4 poles and 3 wins, Michael Brooks is currently your championship leader. He's got 127 points. It's a 28-point advantage over his Wrong Stuff teammate, Dre Divac. Chuck Labano from Frito Sport, currently 3rd in the championship, and he's only 2 points back from Divac at the moment. So definitely within in shouting distance there. And Labano took over 3rd position from Ken Ladd, who came into that round at Spa in 3rd. He now finds himself back in 4th position, 2 points up on Jeff Jacobs and Leo Dragata, who are tied for 5th currently. If we take a look at GT3 Pro, it was the Orion Audi of Mike Dam that took the win over Yago More's Wrong Stuff Porsche, with the Audi of Travis Schwenke finishing in 3rd, and Joey Rutledge for The Wrong Stuff and Robert Hartley for Orion finishing 4th and 5th. Point standings in GT3 Pro, Mike Dam with 3 wins on the season, 2 Yago More's and Chris Thorman's wins, single wins. Mike Dam has a 20-point advantage over his Orion teammate Travis Schwenke. Yago More's is 8 points back from there, and then just a single point back from More's is Chris Thorman. And Thorman was 3rd in the championship going in the Spa, so he, based on the finishes there 2 weeks ago, falls back to 4th in the championship, but only by a single point. And Joey Rutledge sitting, I believe, 16 points back from Thorman. If we take a look now over at GTP, Paulo Cui Grant, as I think I mentioned earlier, took the win in his D2D E-Racing BMW. Ben Rose in the DNA Motorsports Cadillac finished 2nd, 9 seconds back. Bailey Petrowski finished in 3rd, about a minute back from our winner. And then Kyle Strikers in his caddy, Mike, the SRT Esport caddy, and Mike Weir in the Wrong Stuff caddy, finishing 4th and 5th. And in the championship, and there was a big change there at Spa, because Bailey Petrowski had been your championship leader up until round number what are we looking at? Round number 5, and with Grant's win, He moves ahead now by 3 points. Ben Rose from DNA Motorsports finds himself in third with Fernando Takahashi, Kyle Strikers, your top 5. All right, so Larry, it looks like we have Mr. Thorman sitting in the green room waiting for us. Why don't we bring in the driver of the number 60 D2D E-Racing GT3 Pro Ferrari.
All right, Chris Thorman has joined us, and tonight, Chris, looks like you've got your qualifying done. Looks like you're probably going to end up somewhere around that second row, but you've had some earlier success this season. You had the win back at Jerez. What's your thought about tonight? You think you got a shot to win this one?
I don't know tonight. I think we're going for survival first.
It's one of those tracks, isn't it, where survival is kind of a big key, certainly in the early stages. It's always one of my favorite tracks, but I love asking drivers, where does Watkins Glen stand on your list of tracks? Near the favorites or not so much?
Well, it's one of the tracks that I really like to drive by myself.
One of those. Okay, I like to drive, but racing is a little sketchy sometimes.
Yeah, racing can get a little hairy out here, and just a tiny mistake can cause a lot of problems real fast.
Absolutely. So, we also, you've had a really good involvement with this team, obviously with the D2D team, as well as Performer Elite that you brought here to this league. I guess, how deep are you into this league with your involvement? I mean, how much does this really play at your heart for this league, and how much does it mean to you when this league is as successful as it's been?
This is what my week revolves around. And I sponsor it to help Kevin and them keep it going because I like the racing here. I like the guys I race with here. And
even Bobby?
Yes, even Bobby. For a half a lap.
Of course. But yeah, it's, we love calling them each week and love the competition. And as this season's progressed, your last round, maybe not the results you were looking for, but you've had some pretty good success, a couple of podiums already this season, and you've got yourself in a pretty decent position here in the points. If you can, get another couple of, podiums out of this thing, I think you're sitting fourth, kind of a little battle here with the rest of the gang here, just a point behind Yago Mores. Are you going to be keeping an eye on Yago's position and trying to make sure you stay a nose ahead of him as the race progresses?
I'm just going to take it as it comes. Since I've switched to the Ferrari, I just have trouble feeling comfortable in the car. So the first half of the race is just going to be survival, and then we'll see where we're at from there.
All right. Well, good luck. That's a good strategy. Survive if you want to win. You got to still be there in the end to have a chance. But Chris, good luck tonight, and maybe in an hour and a half we'll get a chance to talk to you again.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. Chris Thorman from D2D E-Racing, currently running fourth in the GT3 Pro Championship. And good qualifying time here for him tonight. As he said, though, he's just trying to survive.
It's a good objective. All right, let's run down this qualifying. I'll get us going at least with the GTPs. Alrighty. On the front row for the GTPs, the teammate there to Chris Thorman from the GTP side, it's Polly Kui Grant from D2D E-Racing. Running the 128.8, so that's flying around here. Bailey Petrowski from Petro West. He'll start on the outside of row one, just a 10th of the qualifying off of Polly Kui. That's going to be a great battle developing. Second row from DNA Motorsports on the inside, it's Ben Rose. His outside is going to be the Brazilian from WJM Motorsports, Fernando Takahashi. That could be a fun one to watch. Row 3 on the inside, it's another DNA Motorsports entry. This is Ryan Reisman, lined up with another of those D2D racers. This is Bobby Childs on the outside of row 3. Row 4 on the inside, Kyle Strikers, and he's from SRT Esport. He'll be alongside one of our Wrong Stuff entries, Ian Rude. On row 5 on the inside, Bill Mulfield from WJM Motorsports, alongside the voice of Source Racing, Curlin Andrew. I'm going on the GT3s, or you want to run through them?
Yeah, we can run through them here. Starting on the pole in GT3 is going to be Yago Mores, and I'll give you the breakdown as we have them on the screen here. But should note that Michael Brooks, who won GT3 AM last round. He is actually going to be starting second in GT3s here today, and is your GT3 AM pole sitter. So it's Iago Mores and Mike Dam from Iago Racing and Orion Racing. Then we've got Travis Schwenke from Orion and Chris Thorman from D2D, who we just spoke to a moment ago. And then Blake Scott from Aerokinetics. He's going to start 5th in Pro with Joey Rutledge from The Wrong Stuff starting in 6th. Robert Hartley 7th from Orion with David Payton, and after David Payton, I believe we had, and of course everything is switching up on me now. Let's move over to the AMs where we've got Dre Divock and Robert Schwenkler on the 2nd row, Leo Dragata and Jeff Jacobs on row 3, then Dominic Angelicchio and Lucas Dragata making up row number 4. Jackson Detmer and Aaron Beaver 9th and 10th in AM, Russ Ruddick and Labano 11th and 12th in AM, then Chad Osborne and John Casey. And I believe that leaves us with Greg Brockway and Dale Maxwell rounding out your GT3 AM field, as the field is now on the way on their pace lap. Larry, around a very beautiful probably 3.4 mile, 11 turn Watkins Glen.
Yeah, such great views from anywhere around this place. Certainly anywhere up by the bus stop, down near the boot is a great place. But what I'm going to be looking for here at the start of this race is first the qualifying time for Iago Mores, 44.6. To second on the grid, Michael Brooks, 45.2. And then you got Mike Dam and Travis Schwenke, typically perennial front runners here, 45.2, 45.3 out of them. Mores is 6 7/10 ahead of those guys in single car qualifying. That's amazing. The other thing is, we talked to Chris Thorman. He's in a points battle in that pro standings. His lap time in qualifying of 45.8, 1.2 seconds slower than Mores, and he's going to start about 4 rows back from Iago.
He's got his work cut out for him.
Yeah, that's going to be a big thing to overcome, and he's got a couple of AM drivers like Michael Brooks, Baron Glover, Dre Divock, and Robert Schwenkler, all between he and the rest of the pro group up in front for Chris Thorman. He's going to have a fight behind him with those guys trying to get to the AM in front of him. Thorman's going to be a tough one. I'd love to watch that early on to see what he can do. He's in a really tough position, but if he can respond and stay clean, he can maybe move up as the race progresses. Mores, though, has got the really good starting position on the pole. He's got great raw speed, but can he get it done and be clean early in this race? And the GTPs, I just can't wait to see this front row of GTPs just light it up.
Yeah, and of course, Larry, it should be said, as our drivers are coming through perhaps the most difficult corner on the course, the only one that isn't heavily cambered, turn 9, is that we've seen where a lot of the GTP drivers early on have had issues with cold tires, and they haven't done the best of jobs managing that. We'll have to see. Maybe the camber will help save them a little bit here, but they will definitely be on the knife's edge to start this race.
Fernando Takahashi's had some rough starts lately. Bobby Childs has had some rough starts. Those guys are starting this race 4th and 6th, so they're kind of stacked up on the one side. See if they can get a good, clean getaway in the early laps.
All right, pace car now is on the pit lane, turning things over to Palakui Grant from D2D E-Racing, your pole sitter, as we wait for the green flag. And green flag is in the air, and our live starter has started this race, and we are underway here at Watkins Glen as Petrowski and Grant are side by side going into the 90 and making the run down towards turn number 2. Grant cuts right across the nose of Petrowski as they start to head up through the S's for the first time. Ben Rose, Fernando Takahashi, 3rd and 4th. Ryan Reisman, Bobby Childs, Kyle Strikers in the Cadillac, Ian Rude, Curlin Andrew, and then Bill Mulfield sitting at the back as Petrowski takes a quick look to the inside going into the bus stop. And now the 2 Wrong Stuff drivers at the front of the field in GT3 as the green flag is in the air, and we're now racing GT3 style at Watkins Glen. It is Mores and Brooks, your top 2 drivers. The rest of the GT3 field still side by side coming out of the 90 with Schwenke getting ahead of Mike Dam, moving up into 3rd position. Dam dropping back into 4th. Then Divock. Chris Thorman has gotten around both Schwenkler and Glover. So he's getting a little bit closer to Mike Dam as the field, and I'm seeing a lot of Wrong Stuff cars here,
yes.
Larry, as the field comes down into the bus stop for the first time. 2, almost 3 wide in a couple places.
A couple of things. Yeah, so the stack up of Wrong Stuff drivers really shocked me to see they are surrounding those 2 Orion drivers that were up there, and just watching that pace. The Orion team also, those Audis tend to be a little bit loose in the early stages. We'll see if the setup tonight has fixed that. We'll keep our eye on them. Also, it looks like a drive-through penalty was just issued to car number 9. Yes, that's Iago Mores, your pole sitter in GT3. Given a penalty for start speed violation. There is a pit speed or a track speed maximum they want him to hold before they go green. He was exceeding that, which it's unfortunate because if you looked at how they came down the front straight, he was alongside his teammate Michael Brooks when they actually got to 1. So any speed advantage, unfortunately, didn't play out, but that's the penalty. That's what the stewards say. We'll keep our eyes when he serves that penalty, as we are now taking a look at the middle of the field here in GTPs. Kyle Stryker's leading the train. Is that Bobby right behind him?
The SRT Esports Cadillac directly behind him. Bobby Childs, who is running in 6th position for now. And then we've got Ian Root and Fernando Takahashi, who lost a number of positions on that opening lap as he started off in 4th position. We now find him there. He is in that the black machine there, the number 79. He's fallen all the way back into 8th position.
Yeah, it's a rough start there as we flash back to our GT3s. Amore still in the lead, still not serving that penalty. I wonder if there's... Oh, and now that he's been given that black flag officially in the system, so the sim will now take over and making sure that he serves that penalty. But we'll see how long it takes for that, because if he does serve it, it's going to leave his teammate in the AM category, Brooks, as the leader of the race with those 2 Orion teammates of Dam and Swanky right behind him, with now Foreman, I think. Also,
and speaking of Dam, we have Mike Dam off in the bus stop, Larry. You talked about how tricky those Audis were to drive early on, and Mike Dam goes around. He puts the car into the safer barrier on the outside. That is now going to move Chris Thorman up into 3rd in GT3 Pro. Down currently, I think running 5th overall in GT3s, and it moves Dre Divock up into 4th. In all of the GT3s.
Yeah, that's huge. Mike Dam has come into this winning, 3 out of 5 rounds. He was 2nd in another round, and he didn't even start one of those. So he's been a perennial winner here this season. That may have just taken him out. There's a lot of damage to his car. I don't know that he'll be able to continue without a long stop in the race.
Yeah, and that's going to, I think, complicate things a little bit for Travis Schwenke, his teammate in the number 16 Audi. Schwenke is currently running 2nd in Pro. He's running 3rd in the GT3s. And the last of the Orion Audis, Robert Hartley, is sitting all the way down right now, 6th in Pro. And I think that comes out to like 11th
Bobby.
or 12th.
Bobby's got around coming out of the toe.
Yeah, Bobby Childs, and that is coming through the toe of the boot, making the run down to the heel. Maybe we'll be able to see exactly what happened to Bobby there, and track what the incident was. But in the meantime, let's watch here. This is Chris Thorman, and he's got Blake Scott now in the BMW directly behind. This is a battle for position. This is the battle for 2nd here early on in GT3 Pro.
Yeah, this start for Thorman couldn't have gone any better. As you look now, he's only 2 seconds behind Travis Schwenke. And of course, they're trailing a little bit behind Michael Brooks. But for Thorman, what he cares about is the 2nd in class. And now, of course, with the penalty given out to Mores, and then the wreck there for Mike Dam, that's let him move up to 2nd spot. Just a couple seconds behind Schwenke. He's getting a lot of pressure behind him from Blake Scott.
Looks like he might have gotten a little bit of a love tap there going into the chute from Blake Scott. Yeah.
It's the kind of pressure, light pressure you might feel from behind.
Yes. All right, let's take a look and see what happened to Mike Dam here as he was coming down into the inner loop, the bus stop chicane on lap number 2. See him there directly behind his teammate, Travis Schwenke.
All by himself.
Yeah, and it looked like, Larry, it looked like he actually clipped the end of the Armco there.
Yeah.
Went over the apex curbing and got the Armco itself. You saw the right-hand fender already gone, and there's the clip of Bobby Childs a little bit later on.
Bobby coming out of the toe of the boot, coming up the hill, squirts the back end, kicks it around. But wow, yeah, for Mike Dam, that's a very uncharacteristic misjudgment of the line in that corner, the way that he went into it. And just went around hard and smacked it. That's a lot of damage he took on.
Great move there as we're watching Robert Schwenkler just got around Baron Glover. Schwenkler now running 3rd in the AM, moved Glover back in the 4th. And I think Schwenkler already has gotten around both Glover as well as Leo Dragata, the third car there, the blue and yellow Porsche, the number 118 machine.
There's a couple of wrong stuff Porsches right in front of that Dragata car there in his 118. A whole line of Porsches here. The Porsches seem to be pretty strong lately as this season progresses.
Well, you know, a lot of the drivers. There was the update in iRacing a little bit earlier to go to the latest version of the Porsche GT3 Cup car, and well, the Porsche drivers had made the change, but we also had this 3 wide going into the toe of the boot.
Those are your leaders in the GTPs making their way through this pack of GT3s, and that has allowed some of this mixing up going on between Glover and Dragata, as they had gone 3 wide with the GTP, and now they're kind of sorting things back out, but the battle continuing between these two as the GTPs, at least for the moment, have gone through. There's going to be more where there was some. There's always more.
Oh, and look at this dicing here. Great move by Dragata getting underneath Baron Glover, going through turn number 9, and all the while we're looking at looking at Joey Rutledge in the wrong stuff Ferrari there, trying to figure out a way to get through.
Well, that's, of course, the wrong stuff of Baron Glover right in front of him as well. So you get wrong stuff teammates bookending Dragata. They're all on his lonesome. And his Dragata Racing is Ryan Reisman saying, I just want to get past you guys, as he's got his Cadillac down into turn 1. I can't believe this. We're 6 laps in, and already the GTPs are making their way through the field. There's your front runners, 1, 2, and 3, Grant Petrowski and Rose. They've gone through the field of GT3s, at least most of them already the first time. We'll see how many more times we get tonight. If they're doing it once in 8 minutes, you guys do the math.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of times around. We'll see some interaction.
Yes, it definitely will. And, you know, Larry, I was watching both Grant and Petrowski going over the curbing at the bus stop. We saw that coming. It was Chuck Labano and I believe, was that Russ Ruddick in the number 95 BMW, and they were very, very close at turn in there, and it looks like Labano came right across the nose of Ruddick, and Labano a lot of damage.
Oh, you know, our pre-race interviewee did say survival is the most important thing tonight, and that's never more true than what we're seeing tonight, with a lot of drivers, some bigger names already. Typical perennial class leaders now into the wall and likely out of this race. Take a look, though, at this train, as we were talking about Joey Rutledge and that Ferrari chasing down Baron Glover. Look who's behind them. That number 3 is Orion.
That's Robert Hartley, yeah.
It is. They did not have a good qualifying, but here he is.
And I was saying how, you know, he wasn't really there to give either, and it doesn't really matter, can't give Dan any support at this point anyhow, but wasn't there to really give Dan or Schwenke any kind of support. And Schwenke is running now second in GT3, and Hartley is 9th, I believe, in the GT3 field.
But in a long race format, if he can keep his nose clean, there's a chance for him to make up some ground. And you know what? If there's a track where you could get a full course yellow, it's this one.
It's here.
Yeah, this craziness, these long, fast sweepers, and, you know, a lot of this interaction between the two classes. Some car ends up on the roof. They generally go full course. So we're not necessarily out of the woods, that scenario here. And if you're somebody like Rob Hartley, that can help you, because if you're down early but you've made a couple of passes, all of a sudden you close those gas back up under yellow, and there's a chance there. So things are still a little bit hectic that are not sorted out. Look at this train coming in. Lucas Dragata, leading this train through the bus stop.
Don't mix up the two teams.
They're our teammates. I don't want to mix them up at all. Running the same livery tonight, in the same kind of car at least. The two of them, the 118 and the 119.
And the 119, exactly. Yeah. Hey, and Larry, real quick, I want to thank Buttkicker, who's one of our sponsors. This is actually the second season of Buttkicker sponsoring the Ricmotech World Challenge, and they're going to be giving away to one lucky driver at the season. We'll call it the season banquet, the end of season prize giving ceremony. One lucky driver is going to win a Buttkicker Gamer Plus package that's worth $279.95. and we definitely want to give a big thank you to Buttkicker for providing such a wonderful prize this season. If you want to turn up your immersion, turn up the immersion in your sim rig, visit thebuttkicker.com for further details.
All right, on board here with Jackson Detmer as he's trying to chase down, I believe that is Steve Daniel in front of him. Yeah, a couple of BMWs there with Dominic Angelicchio there right in front of him. Lucas Dragata right in front of him. So there's a whole little train right here. BMW is trying to get around that Porsche. Maybe the BMWs are the strong car tonight.
Yeah, and it's interesting looking at the spread here, in GT3 AM, I think towards the front, very heavily populated by Porsches, and whereas GT3 Pro, you just look at the top 5 racers here, and 3 of the 5 are in the Ferraris up towards the front of the field. But when you take a look at all of the GT3 cars together, there's only one Ferrari in the top 3, or actually even in the top 5 overall, and they go all the way down to like 13th and 14th position. Of the Porsches right now, there are 5 out of the top 8 are Porsches.
Yeah, a lot of Porsches in the field, and they are having some good success, including that guy, Dre Diva, currently second in GT3 AM, about 3 seconds behind race leader in GT3s overall, his teammate, Michael Brooks. Wrong stuff, guys. They've definitely got the right stuff when it comes to setups here at the Glen.
Yeah, and you can see there with Schwenkler directly behind, in very close proximity, just letting his teammate in the number 12 machine pull him on through.
Yeah. And sometimes as teammates, that's what you do. It's faster with just 2 cars. Sometimes if you need to, a little bit of a bump draft. If someone gets a rough exit up at 1, by the time you catch them up in the S's, you get straight, just tap them a little bit. 2 cars are faster than 1.
Slap him in the rear, send him on his way.
Something like that. Give him a little bit of a butt kicker. There we go.
There we go. All right, here is the battle right now for second in GTP. And Ben Rose has made up a ton of ground in the last 6 laps or so, right on the back of Bailey Petrowski as they make the run down to the 90 down towards turn 1. And I was going to say, well, they've got some traffic that they're coming up on. Well, they've been in traffic now since like lap 3.
That's going to go on for the next hour and 15 minutes. Nice little pass up to the S's, but that allows Bailey Petrowski to get a little bit of a margin there on Rose, at least for the moment.
Yeah, but look how much Rose made up under braking going into the bus stop.
What braking? All I saw was Rose throw the car through the bus stop. I don't think he used the brakes. He was flying into that thing, and Petrowski is super conservative. I don't know if that's a setup difference perhaps between them, or maybe Petrowski saw that GT3 car and just kind of woed up a little bit more than Rose did, but Rose the aggressor back there. He can time everything off of the marks of the car in front of him. This is going to be interesting to see if Rose can make it around Petrowski at all, and if he can maybe make some ground up on Grant out in front, who's currently 3.5 seconds ahead of these 2 guys.
And it looks like Dominic Angelicchio getting a warning for an unsafe re-entry after a spin.
And these guys have a couple of more GT3 cars around the next bend to make the way around. There you go. That's Brockway in the 62 and that Ferrari. At first it's Petrowski. Now it's Rose going underneath them safely.
And I want to thank Lee for throwing the track map up there so we can see where some of the traffic is.
Or where the traffic isn't, because it seems to be everywhere.
And apparently the boot is the only place where there's no traffic.
Well, yeah, to give you an idea, right, you got everybody basically from turn 11 through turn 6. Right, that's the whole field, and it's almost a train all the way, 2/3 the way around the track. We've got 35 cars, I think. Yeah, 35 cars registered and started this race tonight. I see about 3 of them, maybe 4 of them still in the pits. So we're still dealing with 30 cars on this racetrack. That is a packed, tight track full of GT3s and GTPs.
Well, and speaking of which, our GTP leaders, Larry, are actually coming into the toe of the boot right now, and they've got a lot of GT3 traffic directly ahead of them. It should make things very, very interesting. We'll see if Petrowski and Rose can get back up to our leader, Publicly Grant, as we're watching right now. This is Travis Schwenke running second in GTP, but our leader in GT3 Pro for the moment. And actually, I take that back. Travis Schwenke, he's your new leader in GT3, as he has gotten around Michael Brooks.
Just a little bit. Now with the traffic coming through is going to help his cause a little bit as Bobby Childs in the GTP goes on by, opening up a little bit there between Schwenke and Brooks. Again, they are leading respective classes, but they are leading now the overall for Schwenke. Brooks now under pressure from Chris Thorman, who wants to not let Schwenke get away. Thorman second in pro, third overall, wants to get underneath. Is this it? Yeah.
No, not going to be close enough. And Larry, there's a lot of brake
Somebody
smoke or engine smoke or something smoke, and I think that was Bobby Childs.
Oh, no. You might be right.
Yeah, I think that was Bobby Childs going around. Let's take a look.
There he was.
Or maybe that was, or was that Takahashi?
It was Bobby. No, Takahashi's been in the pits for a while. That was Bobby. And unfortunately, he called the tow. He might be down and out for a while here for Bobby Childs. Fan favorite as always, but unfortunately for Bobby, maybe adapting to the GTP has been more difficult. At some point, we probably will want to talk to Bobby about adapting from the traditional GT3s, the Ferraris, and even driving for so long to something a lot different, more aero, more speed. As this season's been a struggle for him and showing how hard that car can be.
And Stubby in the chat saying Bobby doing Bobby things again tonight.
It's rough from your biggest fan.
That's right. It's been tough. Hey, as a Washington Commanders fan for life, I know Stubby's pain.
Yep. All right, so Petrowski still trying to chase down Grant as they go through this traffic. He's been able to take a half a second out, but now he's got to back off. Look at it as he gets up to Chris Thorman in that battle that Thorman's got going with Michael Brooks. He had to wait a corner, does Petrowski. Now he can burn by him here at the old, I think it was the front straight at one point on this track years and years ago, as he now goes up through the S's and makes his way around overall GT3 leader Schwenke, who loves to get past in the easy spots for him, doesn't have to do anything. But Petrowski losing almost a second because of that one corner he had to wait behind Thorman and Brooks.
Oh, and here we go. Thorman and Brooks side by side going into the bus stop. And Thorman goes a little wide, and Brooks, I think discretion being the better part of valor, as they might have touched just briefly going in. Brooks is going to concede second position in GTs. Yeah,
and that's definitely the right move, especially because his battle is with the green livery cars behind him in the M category, not necessarily with the ones with the red. And here comes the rest of the field coming through. D-Box, of course, he's part of the NAM category. He was able to take some time out now. He's only a second back from Brooks and Schwenkler, another one only 1.7, as these wrong stuff drivers are starting to stack up. All three of them, 1, 2, 3 in the NAM category. Wide there for Schwenkler. You see that going the extra wide line, taking the spec me out of line around there. Not usually the line you see in the GT3.
No, not at all.
But sometimes you chuck it into 8. You just want it to stick, and it doesn't. It's you're braking downhill. You want the car to go in. You hit the curb too hard, it pops to the outside. It can be a difficult corner.
I was going to say it's a little easier now that it's all paved there on the exit. About 10 years ago when it was, and actually I guess the older iteration of Watkins Glen on the iRacing platform where it was all gravel trap there certainly made things more complicated.
Yeah, with that asphalt runoff there, certainly the momentum cars love using that to be able to just carry their speed around 9 all the way up into, or towards 9, not coming out of 8. But apparently even the GT3 cars need to do that once in a while. Help themselves out as we flash into this Cadillac battle. Here is Ian Rude, currently 6th in the GTPs. There are a couple of Cadillacs in front of him, but he's probably about 7 seconds down in Kyle Stryker is the nearest foe in front, but behind him, he's got a Curlin Andrew in a BMW. It would like to get by him. And they're only, as you can see, they're nose to tail going through traffic now. This ought to get interesting.
Oh, is they're side by side coming down into the toe, and well,
yeah. Rude lifted, Andrew didn't, and there's the result.
and there's the result.
As Andrew, again, the aggression there pays off. How long and how many times can you execute aggression before it doesn't pay off? Ian, being the conservative, wants to just get through this race cleanly. With this sort of the tortoise and hare between these guys. At this point, the tortoise is going to be the slower conservative, but still got an hour and 10 minutes to survive.
All right, here's Jackson Detmer and Lucas Dragata coming through the heel of the boot and stacking up right behind them. It's the 97 Audi of Aaron Beaver, and there's Steve Daniel in the SKKJ BMW.
Look at Lucas making the outside line around 9 work. And it's so rare because of that off-camber. That outside's so hard to stay out there, but did a great job of staying in front of Jackson Detmer there. We'll see if this battle continues. But as you said, they got Beaver and Daniel right behind them. All 4 of these guys basically on the same second.
Yeah, and so Dragata, Detmer, and Beaver, that is a battle for position in class, with Dragata currently running 7th, Detmer 8th, and Beaver 9th in AM. Steve Daniel is the pro driver. He's currently running 6th.
In front of these guys, now 4 seconds in front, is Iago Mores, our pole sitter in GT3, charging through the field right now. By far the fastest GT3 car on the track, which shouldn't surprise you considering his qualifying time. He is now 4 seconds in front of these guys. He's about a second or so behind Jeff Jacobs and 4 more seconds behind David Payton. So Mores is on a recovery, and with an hour and 7 minutes to go, don't be surprised if Mores gets himself back up into potential podium or even higher position tonight on this recovery.
So Larry, we saw it flash up on the screen. Ian Rude, driver of the number 22 Cadillac, we saw just a little while ago in his battle with Curlin Andrew. He has just been dinged for, been deemed responsible for contact and has been issued a drive-through penalty. I'm trying to pick up.
Rob Hartley would be the car that the contact was with, the number 3 car, and that's unfortunate. We haven't seen where Hartley has ended up.
Yeah, tell you what, let's take a look and get it all queued up.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
wow,
yes. There you go. And meanwhile, look at this. I was going to say, look at the save by Hartley.
Almost saved. And then they almost saved, and then
almost
they
saved.
Not saved.
I was saying, if Rude wasn't there, it wouldn't have initiated the contact. But
was a rude awakening.
Hartley had a heck of a drift.
Yeah, he started to hold it and then didn't.
Yeah, and then Rude got him a second time, and
yeah. So rough luck now for 2 of our Orion drivers. As Travis Schwenke's still out there, we know from talking to these guys over the seasons that Schwenke is the setup guy. Maybe he's liking it. The other 2, maybe not so much. Hartley, of course, qualifying down the order tonight, and then Mike Dam, of course, we saw him tap the apex barrier, I guess that would be on the entry to the bus stop. And his night appears to be over, but Schwenke now carrying the flag for Orion for the rest of the night.
And there is that fight we were watching, Aaron Beaver and Lucas Dragata. Beaver in the Audi, and directly behind him, Lucas Dragata, the 119 Porsche.
Yeah, Aaron able to get by, I think, in this battle, but as Steve Daniel also is kind of making his way through some of this. He's already gotten in front of them, so
yeah, he's split because Jackson Detmer was part of that battle as well, and Daniel is split Beaver and Dragata off from Detmer currently.
Yep. Still keeping an eye on the Iago Mores progression. He is now just 3 seconds behind David Payton for 4th in pro, so we just got to keep an eye on him.
Oh, one of our TWS cars, and look who it is, Larry.
That was your leader in AM, Michael Brooks.
And he is at a standstill.
Oh, wow.
And Schwenkler is coming into the pits. I'm wondering if the 2 of them maybe got together, or if Schwenkler is just using this opportunity for an early pit stop.
As somebody was slow. Oh, no, that was...
no.
Is that...
That was
Rude?
Ian Rude, I think, getting together with both of the wrong stuff cars coming through turn number 9.
Oh, that's unfortunate for all involved. It just to have both wrong stuff leaders in the GT3s basically taken out at the same time. Devox is lucky to get by.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, that's going to leave Devox now leading, I believe, in the AM category.
Indeed.
Rough there for both Brooks and Schwenkler to be taken out like that.
Now, what that also does, Larry, and not to put a good face on this, is that is now going to move Chris Thorman up into second in GT, and he's not that far back. He's a little bit less than 3 seconds back from Travis Schwenke currently, but he no longer has to contend with getting around 3 of the wrong stuff drivers to get to Schwenke.
Focusing on that, I think he may have just had gotten by a little bit earlier. He may have just gotten by Michael Brooks and started to set his sights, but Schwenke's been slowly inching away, a couple little tenths here and there. But I think what we're going to see is at some point Schwenke's going to have to come in. They're all going to have to make one stop, it seems, tonight. And if they have to take tires, Schwenke has to go back in a cold set. We know how sketchy that car can be. Watch that being Thorman's opportunity. The pit exchange. Schwenke's going to be slow coming out. Can Thorman capitalize and maybe get a nose in front as they make the second half of this race? And we'll see that probably in the next 20 minutes or so.
So Larry, if you want some good comedy, you go to the YouTube chat where Bobby Childs, I was going to say, it's not like he doesn't have anything to do, because apparently he's eating ice cream. He says it's 8:45 third world challenge and I'm eating ice cream. Typical.
Oh, Bobby.
And then commenting on the incident with Ian Rude, he says that was more team crime than D2D has ever done.
Now, Bobby, we'll get you back in here in the booth one of these days. I'd love to get your impressions of this GTP car, because it looks like a handful out there and these kind of nights. And unfortunate way to go out. We would love to see you a little bit more, because we know the ratings go down every time you wreck out, so we want to keep you in as long as we can.
All right, so Larry, this is the battle again. Go back to the battle for GTP superiority here, as Palakui Grant has had his lead totally decimated, and we now Belly Petrosky, the other two-win driver, directly behind.
Have you seen who's behind
Ben
Bailey?
Rose? He's right there as well.
Yeah, three-way fight now at GTP. 30 minutes in. Who would have thought of this? We figured things normally settle in. It'd be 10 seconds or so. But nope, not tonight. It's this traffic. Grant probably got caught up in a bad spot. The two behind didn't. And now all of a sudden it's a 1-2-3. But here you go. Dre Diebach just doing this thing through 9, trying to let the leaders on through at GTP. And it does create more of a gap. And that's just part of how this thing happens.
Bobby's doing his GTP impressions in the chat, Larry. It's Bobby. It's comical.
It's great is that it's Bobby and Mike Dam both having a chat together in the chat as opposed to behind the wheel. That's the way this is going to go tonight. So if you're watching, definitely jump on that chat and have a good time and get the words directly from Mike Dam and Bobby Childs, drivers with experience, although limited tonight. Ben Rose is pretty quick right now, staying on the heels of Bailey Petrowski.
And Larry, shouldn't be a surprise. The stewards are taking a look at the incident there with Michael Brooks and Ian Rude. And it looks as though Rude is trying to determine whether or not he's back on course. I don't believe he is.
He may have actually quit. I don't see him in the pits, and I don't see a speed. That car was pretty heavily damaged. Probably took on about a 25-minute repair and decided maybe I'll join the chat with Bobby and Mike and Stubby. And so you might see Ian Rude in there shortly. Ben Rose, though, he's got no sights on doing any chatting tonight. He's going to do his chatting with his brake pedal, his gas pedal, and his steering wheel, because he's right now talking all about speed.
Yeah, and so Rose came into the evening 12 points back from Bailey Petrowski, currently sitting third in the championship. And in the position that he's in right now, he's not going to be able to put knock a big chunk of that out if things finish up the way they are. But he's showing more competitiveness here against Petrowski and Grant than I think he's shown all season long. That this track is really suiting him well.
Also noticing that Curlin Andrew has made a pit stop. It's a 45-second pit stop, so I'm not sure what necessarily. Maybe he took on a minor repair or something, but that is the first of our field to take what appears to be a scheduled pit stop. Everyone else is, I'm not sure they were scheduled in all of them, but
well,
we'll
Larry, so the deal is that the fuel loads were set for the GTP cars in order to really require them to take 2 pit stops this evening. And the original thought was that they could go somewhere around 27 laps or about 40 minutes on their longer stint. And then they'd probably need a splash of about 5.5 gallons afterwards. And so probably somewhere along the lines of, having to go and pit in somewhere, anywhere after about 7 laps. So obviously we're a long way past that. Maybe he's just splitting the distance. As we're watching right now, Iago Mores in the wrong stuff Porsche.
That's
and
for
David
position.
Payton.
Yeah, that was for position. That was for 4th overall in the pro category.
Well,
so now
and here you come,
Mores.
coming down the pit lane,
Both
Palakui Grant as well as Bailey Petrowski. That is going to move Ben Rose for the time being up into the lead.
That'll get him a bonus point for leading a race. And as you mentioned, he's down a few points from the other 2.
Yeah.
He would love to get all those bonus points if he can. Leading a lap is going to help that cause. And he's got speed. Maybe this is what he needs, was free open track. Look at this. Nobody in front of him. I agree with Ben. If you can burn some laps with not a single GT3 car in front of you, you take that opportunity. And looking at our track map, he's got the 11th place card, 10th and 9th up
he's
there.
going to come up on some traffic there probably once he gets onto the sole of the boot, which might be the best place for him.
If he stops his next time by, might be the best thing, because look at the gap behind him. He might quickly fall into another great open track spot. This could be Ben Rose's opportunity. It's going to be a really good timing. Looking at that. I love that track map. Thanks, Lee.
Poppy Child says, this DNF brought to you by Edie's, the original Rocky Road ice cream. And yes, I think Rocky Road is definitely apropos.
I sense a new sponsor coming to the series in a few weeks.
That's right.
All right, let's keep an eye on Van Rose. Does he make his stop? He does.
He does.
Again, that's what I was thinking. All that traffic in front, great time to go in, get your pit stop done. Maybe if he's lucky, he comes out with minimal traffic in front of him. You look at where Travis Schwenke, Chris Thorman are. They're coming down between the toe and the heel of the boot. If he can get out in front of them, he'll have minimal traffic to deal with and a best opportunity to get back in this race in the lead.
Well, Larry, and I'm also taking a look as Palakui Grant came back out on track about 5 seconds. No, not 5 seconds. About a second or so up on Petrowski, and they don't have that many cars to contend with at this point as they come through the 90 and start to go towards the S's. Matter of fact, I think the next driver in line is Curlin Andrew that Grant is going to have to contend with.
Well, Petrowski, you can see way back there from Palakui Grant. Grant's coming out of 10 as Petrowski's just going through 9, so definitely a more efficient in and out for Palakui Grant than for Bailey Petrowski. Again, all of this could be great for Ben Rose, who's on his way out of the pits now. I suspect he'll end up between these two, as I think Palakui Grant, just went by.
Yes.
But I think he's going to leapfrog past Bailey Petrowski. That's at least one position up. Woo! For Grant, right onto the back. He's at the 9 of Mores. That was close. I don't know if Mores saw Grant coming out of the pits right there. Yeah, so look at that. Only maybe about 10 car lengths between Rose and your leader. Well, not quite leader, Palakui Grant. Your assumed leader, because Kyle Strikers actually is your leader.
Is currently your leader, exactly.
Another one getting a bonus point for leading a lap in his class.
All right, well, tell you what, Larry, we're just about past the top of the hour, and we've had, I think, most of the GTP field come through. I think we're still quite a ways away from our GT3 drivers coming in, because they can go somewhere close to 27 laps We believe on a full tank here. So why don't we take a break? Thank some of our partners and sponsors that are bringing you the coverage here on Apex Racing TV. And we'll be back in just a moment to take you all the way to the checkered flag from Watkins Glen International and round number 6 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge. We'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
And welcome back to Watkins Glen International for round number 6 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge presented by Performa Elite and Buttkicker. I'm Greg Ginsburg along with Larry Lefty McLeod. And Larry, we're rejoining. We've been watching as our commercials were rolling this battle for the lead in GT3 Pro with Travis Schwenke and Chris Thorman. And you know, Thorman, he's got a couple places where he's, I think, definitely quicker than the Audi of Schwenke, but there are some places where the Audi definitely seems a little bit more nimble. All the while, we've had some of our GTP traffic trying to find their way through these guys.
Well, when we checked in with these guys a few laps ago, it was almost 3 seconds from Schwenke to Thorman, and I was suspecting maybe Thorman's best chance would be in the pit exchange. Apparently, it's going to happen long before the pits, as Thorman's got it down to a second here. Yeah. Maybe Schwenke's trying to save some tire. Maybe he's trying to save some fuel to help his pit stops and to help this 90-minute survival. Not sure what's going through the mind of that Orion driver, but what I do know is that Thorman appears to, whatever hesitations he had 40 minutes ago as we were interviewing him, seems to have been thrown out the window because he's got pace here.
He finally realized he's past the survival phase.
Yeah.
And now he's maybe in the attack phase.
It's a very valid point, is if you look at a race like this, a 90-minute endurance race, there's typically a 30-minute just survive and get through it phase. There's the I got to go set fast lap times middle part, and then the last part is figure out where you are, what you got to do to pick up the last spot. And I think that's what Thorman's doing here. Look at these guys. Ooh. Almost contact between the teammates, between the Ferrari and the Porsche. Wrong stuff teammates go to the bus stop. Joey leading Dre through there, but Dre really almost almost painted the front of his car to the back of Joey's Ferrari.
Yeah, that's right. Nice. And the BMWs could use that, but not the Ferraris. Yeah, so Joey Rutledge now gets around Dre Divock. Rutledge running third in pro, and as you can see there, he's got quite a distance though to get up to Chris Thorman and Travis Schwenke, as he's currently about 10 seconds in arrears. But I think this is probably as good a time as any for those two to swap positions and let Rutledge try to make up some of that ground
if he can. So keeping an eye on Yaga Moraes. If you look at that in the GT3 Pro standings, Moraes in fourth, only 13 seconds back. And look how wide Joey Rutledge catching that little grass strip. And that's dancing with the devil. You come around 9 and touch that grass strip. How many times have we seen someone smack the left wall after taking the grass on the right side?
Oh, way too many times. and that's assuming they don't get to that little cutout of Armco there on driver's right first.
And just come to a blunt stop.
Yes. Or get bounced across the track. Yes. And I'm wondering, Larry, how things could have been a little bit different if Moraes didn't get hit with that drive-through penalty right out of the gate today, that he's worked his way all the way back up to 5th in GT and 4th in pro. Because obviously he had the pace in qualifying. But I mean, it was pretty clear also when we watched the start there that whole inside lane was not just Moraes, but the entire inside lane was quite a bit ahead of the outside lane, and it appeared that they were carrying quite a bit more pace than the road being led at the time of Michael Brooks.
I just watching Moraes and his pace tonight, pace in qualifying. You can see right there how he is outpacing Schwenke anywhere from 3/10 all the way up to a second a lap. At that kind of pace, honestly, he's still got a shot to come back and win this thing. Yeah. This goes back to, like, what was it, 1995, 8500 Jack Villeneuve, who took the 2-lap penalty and still won the race because of his pace and some other luck on his way. Moraes is doing that. He's taking a penalty early in this race, a drive-through, and he's only 13 seconds down from Schwenke. That drive-through
we're not even halfway in.
Yeah. So he's got a greep shot if he can keep himself clean. Again, we got to go through a set of pit stops. All these front runners in GT3 need to make a stop at some point. As only ones that have, I think
Baron Glover was the only one.
And then other than that, it was, oh no, that's Holly Queen Grant.
Oh my.
And Rose, this is a whole lot of action going on down there at the bottom of the S's. What is going on? Oh, that's actually
so Rose now recovers coming out of the heel, but obviously he had gone around. So hopefully we can take. And Rose, he's got a lot of damage there.
All right, here's the replay. Rose right on the inside, maybe going into the heel. Is there contact?
Yes, there is.
Yes, there is. And Ben maybe caught a little damage there. He gets out of the way, continues on, but you watch the way the car turns when he gets up to 9. If we keep with this replay for a second, he turns in, the back end just steps.
Right out.
So I'm wondering if he's got a bit of an alignment issue there. The steward's going to take a look at that contact between Rose and Grant, but Rose really gets the worst of that.
And that is going to move Bailey Petrowski back up into second position, and he is coming, and he's coming quickly, Larry.
Yeah.
For Palakui Grant at this point.
And if Grant has any bit of damage, any missed alignment or anything from that contact, and that right rear could have been susceptible from that contact, it's going to leave him a sitting duck to Bailey Petrowski, who we saw earlier close up about a 3 or 4 second gap onto Grant before the pit stop. So it's happening again. Petrowski's picking up pace. We know he's won races this year. Can he close this up? And they'll have to do one more pit stop in the next, say, 15, 20, 25 minutes. Yeah, we'll have to see. Can you make the same thing happen and have a shot to win this thing at the end? We're only halfway through this 90-minute race right now. Halfway. There's a lot of racing still.
Yeah, and you can see there's some damage there in the right front, Larry, as the headlight bucket is slightly askew, actually, and I think for both of them, frankly. But you can see there, if you look at the right-hand side, there's definitely some damage there.
Grant's still 2 seconds up, but it was 3 seconds a bit ago. There's Chad Osborne on the inside. He gets Russ Ruddock getting passed down into the heel of the boat down there in turn 8. Osborne, his Redline Motorsports car now coming out of there. And that's Baron Glover, I believe. If I got the right, see the 13? Yes, right there behind them. And these guys are all in AM, if I got that right.
Yes.
So this is for 6th position, 6th, 7th, and 8th in AM category between Osborne, Reddick, and Glover. Sound of it. Ferrari, I believe, is what he's in. Although the picture, I think, is a Porsche. Is he in a Porsche? He is in a Porsche.
He is in a Porsche.
He is in a Porsche. I can't read logos that are right in front of me. I can now. The Porsche trying to catch the 2 BMWs there in front.
No, just think, Larry, in a couple of years, your grandson will be able to fetch your reading glasses for you.
Hope he can pay for my retirement, too. He'll be on the sim shortly, don't worry. He'll make Lucas, yes, he'll make the Dragata brothers seem like old men by the time my grandson's on there. Look at this. There's Divock in the 12, and I think it's teammate Yago Moraes behind. Divock leading AM. Moraes 4th in pro. Would love to get by. Moraes, no one's as fast as Moraes tonight. Divock is not going to be fooling himself. He knows there's nothing he can do. Moraes is going to go by whether you want him to or not. He's going to do it on the long straight. That's the safe teammate-like way to do it. Mm-hmm. And the next one in front is going to be Joey Rutledge. Another, you guessed it, long step driver.
This is where he should likely have enough of a draft, move to the inside. You're not going to see Divock put up a fight, and they'll swap positions going into the bus stop.
And I think that's Ben Rose then right behind them in a GTP car trying to make his way through as soon as he gets out of the bus stop. There he goes.
Yeah, and so let's see. And, you know, Larry Rose did not go and take a pit stop.
No.
So maybe it was the slower pace that he was when he was going into turn 9 that just didn't have the downforce at the rear end.
I think there's a couple things there. One is his tires may have gotten a little cold when he backed up off the track. Maybe he was just one of those frustration moments where you chuck the car in because of desperation and you end up spinning it. So Ben's calmed himself down. He's going to try and do something with it now and come back in this race. Still in 3rd, not too far out. Russ Ruddock is into the pits. I think this is scheduled, as he's right about the halfway point. And Chad Osborne. Remember, these two were nose to tail in the opposite order. Of course, Osborne was leading Russ. Now here they are in the pits. We'll see how they come out in a minute. There's the 2 teammates right there from Frito Sport, Brockway and John Casey. A couple of matched Ferraris. Purple livery for Brockway and Casey in the blue livery. That is Leo Dragota coming in just ahead of teammate Lucas. Leo coming in the 118, pitting from 3rd in AM category. Lucas currently running 4th, about 40 seconds back. We'll see if he pits when he comes by. There is Lucas. Coming around 9 towards 10. He's got a Baron Glover behind him. Glover, though, has already made his stop.
Pitted.
Yeah.
And looks like Lucas Dragata is going to come into the pit lane now and join teammate Leo.
He just left. The pit crew is all warmed up and ready for him. It's almost like stacking the pits in F1.
That's
right.
Look at that. That's just what I was thinking. And there you go. Just as
Thank you, Lee.
The one comes in, the other goes out.
That was awesome. Good to see them both right there in sequence. All right, so your race lead still Schwenke over Thorman in GT3s as they are now making their way through some traffic. But they are your 1-2 overall in GT3 and 1-2 in the GT3 Pro. We'll see who flinches in pits. Schwenke taking a pit line. Is he staying in the pits? He is. So,
he is.
Does he take tires? I got to imagine 90-minute race is going to have to, and that will make that Audi a little bit scary in the opening laps. So let's watch. How does this race play out? Foreman's going to pick up the bonus point, as Schwenke's already got one for leading a lap in this race. But does he have a good in lap and out lap for Schwenke, or does Thorman beat him? And look at Rutledge and Moraes pitting right behind them as well. Yeah, it's going to be a busy pit lane right now.
It is, and the wrong stuff crew is going to be very busy. You thought stacking the pits at Dragon Sport was tough. Look at this.
And that's why they have different liveries of wrong stuff. Is each livery is a unique pit crew.
Yes.
I take that back. Well, there's Moraes. He's in the number 9. He was your pole sitter with that early stop and go penalty. So he's already been through the pits. Notice also his left rear fender's got a little bit of a wrinkle to it. So he's had contact somewhere tonight, probably a little bit of a wall somewhere. But he's probably the turn 11 outside wall, I would guess. But we'll see what kind of recovery he can do with the fresh tires he's likely to put on. Schwenke has done his pit stop. He is back out. Schwenke's pit time was about 30 seconds. Thorman hasn't stopped yet.
And here comes Rutledge and Moraes back
Same
out
order,
on track.
I think they went in on, and now they'll come back. But look at that damage on the back of Moraes.
Yeah.
A lot of sculpting going on tonight.
Yeah, and notice that Rutledge, Larry, I think he leapfrogged Yago Moraes in the pit.
I think Moraes was catching Rutledge and didn't, but now he's caught him by even more. If I look at their pit times, Moraes was about a second and a half faster, so he's closed up, and I would suspect within 3 laps, Moraes is going to get the point by, because he's got a shot to win this race. Here comes David Payton now. He's in pro. He would like to get around 12 of Divock, who's still leading the, he could be leading, but I think Glover actually is leading.
And Glover's taking his pit stop already, Larry.
He's taking a pit stop. It was a quick one at 25 seconds.
We'll
see if that's
right. It was the early. That was the early stop. Well, likely he's gonna have to take another splash.
This is what I want to see: is the D2D driver who was leading the race. He was on the tail of Travis Schwenke when the pit stop started. Can he come out in front of Schwenke? If he can, this could be a great night for Thorman. If he can't, he's still got a chance to push right through to the end with about 37 minutes to go in this race. It's going to be a fun battle to the end, as is watching Yago Moraes, who now has gotten around his teammates. Yep, he's gotten around Joy Rutledge for third. So now he's got his sights set on Schwenke, and there is Schwenke on the front straight. Where is Thorman? Oh, he's just leaving his pit.
No,
not leaving his pit
he's
yet.
still there.
Wow, all the fuel.
Oh, my.
What's going on with Chris Thorman? This is a lot longer than scheduled. He's 20 seconds longer.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's a more than just taking fuel, Larry.
Oh, no.
He's still sitting there.
Bobby, go save your man. This is not good for Chris Thorman.
Maybe that's the problem. Is Bobby's the lollipop guy and just hasn't. There we go. There's Chris Thorman back underway, but he's going to fall all the way back to a distant 5th, tail end of the pro field. Because I think the remaining pro drivers, 6th and back, are all in the pit lane.
68
where they're spending the rest of the night.
Pit stop for Chris Thorman. 68 when his rival does it in 28. And that 40 seconds is everything. Look at see right there on the board. 40 seconds difference on the track. It's all in the pit stop. Oh, I can only imagine what went wrong there for Chris. Oh, just heartbroken over that one. Meanwhile, his teammate David Payton is going to take on the charge here and take on the lead flag for D2D in the GT3 ranks. He's trying to hold off behind him a non-class battle, I believe, as he's got Dre Divock sitting in second and now Divock wants to get by because he's got to catch a Baron Glover out in front who's taken over this lead. We'll keep our eye on Glover, able to do that in the pit exchange. Now everybody's got at least a pit stop in. The GT3s are only required 1. The GTPs need to make 2 by rule tonight. So we'll see those guys coming again. But if Glover and Divock each took on enough fuel, that means Divock's going to have to do it on the track.
So, Larry, I'm not a conspiracy theorist by nature, but in the YouTube chat, Stubby went away, disappeared for a while, just as Chris Thorman was coming into the pits. And as soon as Thorman was leaving the pits, Stubby says, back. And so...
Stubby's the pit crew?
Yeah, I think that might have been it.
Well, there's also speculation. I'll use our pit reporters on the scene. There's speculation that perhaps that maybe Chris Dorman sped in the pits on his way in and had to serve a penalty.
Ooh.
It's a very likely scenario and a very unfortunate scenario for him, as had a shot to lead this thing, and that all went by the wayside if that's what went down.
Oh my, oh my.
Speculation, but that's a very strong possibility with the way the iRacing platform works. You get a speeding penalty, you serve it, and that's what he did. Yeah. Divock still not able to get by. Haven't seen much of this guy tonight. Aaron Beaver from Aerokinetics Audi. Currently running 6th in the M category. He's on the heels of a Jeff Jacobs, who I had a chance to hang around with Jeff last weekend at a SCCA Pro Solo in Cleveland. Jeff actually was the chief steward for the weekend, as well as a competitor. Jeff did a very cool thing. He and his co-driver, Tony, they run in a solo spec coupe FRS, which is nothing like a Lamborghini. At the end of the competition, they go into these runoff challenges. They loaned their car to one of the ladies in the runoff challenge because 2 co-drivers in the ladies challenge were going to go heads up. So as long as they're going to go heads up, Tony and Jeff loaned their cars so the 2 co-driving ladies could each have a car and actually co-drive, or actually side-by-side race a Pro Solo. If you're not familiar with Pro Solos, it's like 2 autocrosses going on at the same time with a drag race start between them. So very, very cool thing. Awesome sportsmanship, great competition. And those 2 co-drivers had a good old time with that little battle, and appreciated, of course, Jeff and his co-driver Tony loaning them that car. And Jeff's just an all-around great guy, big contributor, obviously one of the admins here in this league, always a strong person, one of the leading roles in any SCCA event he goes to, and of course sponsored by the SCCA Foundation. Not really sponsored by, he's promoting them, of course, as he's one of the admins of the SCCA Foundation, doing his part all over the motorsports community.
As we watch here coming through the bus stop, so David Payton leading the 2 drivers directly behind Dre Divock and then Leo Dragata. Payton currently running 4th in pro.
Oh, you gotta move it.
Yeah.
Look at Dragota trying to follow Divock down the inside. Not able to make it stick.
Oh, but he moves to the inside. Larry tries to come underneath him, going into the toe, and Peyton goes to cover.
Oh, look at Dragota now with the lights flashing, saying, "Come on, I'm coming for you." That's all trash talk right there with the lights flashing.
Oh, all that, and he's now in the Larry. Peyton's sitting right in the battle for 2nd in AM. Between Dragata and Divock, and so Divock's going to come underneath.
He's going to shove it in the inside. They're going to be side by side through 10 at this point. No, he's going to slide in behind.
Oof. You know, I'm so conflicted here, Larry, because, you know, I know Peyton wants to get up to Joey Rutledge and fight it out for the last step on the podium in pro, but he's sitting right in that middle for a podium battle in AM, and it's got to be rough for Dragata there, who's just watching now as Dre Divock is driving away.
Yeah, and Leo's doing everything he can in that Dragon Sport Porsche to get on by the veteran in the Ferrari in front of him. And you can see him. He's shoving the nose and everything. That's how this track races. You shove your nose on the inside. These corners are fast, but you got to carry all the speed, even in these Porsches and Ferraris. He's trying. He may get another opportunity down into the boot again. It seemed like he was faster through the 6, 7, 8 complex than his rival Peyton in front of him. We'll see if that trend continues on this one. Look at a little bit quicker through the bus stop. Let's see if he's quicker through the carousel. So they, of course, now have, I think, is that Petrowski?
I couldn't tell if that was Petrowski or maybe the Strikers.
It might have been Strikers, in fact. I think you're right. But look at this. Again, faster through 6 for Leo, just like the last lap. This time he's going to try and show one way, go the other. See if he gets a run coming off of the toe of the boot here at 7 and up the hill. Oh, no. Is that Divock in front losing it?
Yes, it is. And Divock now has an issue, and he is going to have to allow. Well, he doesn't have to allow. Let's see if he can make the corner there. But now moving up in the second is going to be I can't even get it out of my mouth. Leo Dragata, your new second place runner in AM, as Dre Divock will fall back into third. And Larry, he's gathered it back up. It doesn't look like there's a ton of damage there, but we'll definitely follow along. And here we go,
Well,
Baron Glover coming in for stop number 2.
We thought maybe this was a possibility with that shorter early pit stop that he might have to take another one. This is going to give the lead to Leo Dragata after that pass he just made on Divock. What a crazy turn of events in the last 30 seconds. You go from 10 seconds from the leader to these two battling for second. Suddenly the battle for second becomes the battle for the lead in AM. And look at Leo flashing the lights.
He's still trying to get around David Payton.
It's not going to happen. I think that's a little bit of elation and jubilation there out of Leo saying, hey, I'm in the lead. This is cool.
And also as well, if you could stick yourself between me and Dre Divock, perhaps you could do it again and give me the advantage.
Well,
but meanwhile, our
mirrors.
overall leader, Palakui Grant, is coming through.
Yep, they better check their mirrors right now because that GTP is going to go around the outside, and he does all the way down. That's about as smooth a pass.
And look at this, Dragata going to try and come underneath Payton going into 6.
And he better watch himself. He's going to have a Divock on his right. As again, Leo's going to show the inside to Payton. Not able to get the exit, though, through 7. Oh, he's got a good run. They did get on the gas early. That Porsche, he can really plant that tail end. Whereas the Ferrari's got to kind of take the wide in and out. As that's Bailey Petrowski, I think, going by there.
Yes.
Yep. And Petrowski, by the way, just 3.5 seconds behind the lead. Look at Leo diving under brakes into 8. He's throwing that Porsche around tonight. God, look at Estelle showing the inside, filling all the mirrors of Payton.
Oh! Dre Divock for a second took a look to the inside on Dragata coming out of turn 9, and just that's not a place where you just don't get any good exit speed if you do that. But here we go as our GT3 traffic still trying to make it through.
Jump over and use the draft, but he doesn't. He stays in line with Payton. Let's see if he can get a run down the back straight this time. He's got a good run through 1, almost too good. Where do you go with it when you get that kind of run? He's going to go to the inside of the S's.
Oh, and Payton comes right across his nose. By the way, Baron Glover rejoined 6th in AM. Yeah. And so quite a bit further back than these drivers here. As now Ben Rose, as he's trying to make his run. Oh.
Slicing and dicing.
And so, Larry, we never heard or saw anything as far as the incident between Grant and Rose, I don't believe.
I'm not sure, but Leo kind of got caught in that mix there and fades back, handing the AM lead now to Dre Divock with all those GTPs come roaring through. So Leo's got to do all that work again. And that's Ryan Reisman in the 414 flashing his lights in that Cadillac coming on through. Look at this now, Leo again. Yep.
Oh.
He's trying.
I'm starting to think Mike Dam has better jokes than Bobby Childs does.
Yes. By the way, you were asking about the incident between Rose and Palakui Grant. Yes, it's a 5-second post-race penalty has been issued to Ben Rose. Right
so
now,
Rose currently running in 3rd and 15 seconds back. That Larry.
Look at this.
Oh.
Divock to the inside, gets underneath. He's now ahead of Payton. As they go down into 1, Dragata's got a little bit of a line to follow down the inside. If he can shove the nose in, he's going to try.
He's close enough. He's going to try.
Good run. Payton now side by side with Dragata as they go to the S's.
And Dragota gives Payton all the room he needs to get back on track. To his disadvantage now, as Payton in the Ferrari is able to slot himself right between the two Porsches once again.
Yep, Payton's got to run. He got a really good run by taking some draft, but now he's going to have to go too wide, and nobody wants to go too wide to the bus stop.
And Larry, I think we've got a big change here for the lead in GT3 Pro, as Iago Mores has gotten around Travis Schwenke, as Schwenke has put the car into the fence over in the chute, over at turn number 6. And Schwenke's going to recover, but he's going to recover in third as Joey Rutledge in the Wrong Stuff Ferrari has now moved up in the second.
Wow, I tell you, those Audis are really tough on handling. They're on a scary edge. Schwenke may have just finally found how edgy that thing can be as he goes down into 6th and just loses the back end of the braking.
Yeah, couldn't get the nose to turn in, and the rear end just walked out on him as well. And he puts that car around, and he's now falling into third. Coming down the pit lane, Larry, Bailey Petrowski for his second stop of the evening.
This is planned. Remember, GTP's got to make 2 stops tonight. Petrowski's the first of them to make his second stop. Actually, I should say Ryan Ricmotech was the first to make his second. But Bailey's going to come in. This should be maybe just a little bit shorter of a stop than the first one, depending on what they chose to do. But it can be a shorter one. And we'll have to then wait and see about Grant and Rose. Rose, we know, is going to have that penalty. Petrowski was just a couple seconds behind Grant when he stopped.
All right, Larry. And now under braking, trying to get underneath David Payton is Jackson Detmer in the number 77 BMW. He is currently running third in GT3 AM, but given the continued battling between Dragata and Divock, and we'll throw Payton in there as well, Detmer has made up so much time. You can see he's only about 10 car lengths back from Dragota.
Well, you can see right there how Payton must have had a bit of a oops somewhere on that lap, because he was right behind Dragota or in the mix with them, and now he's those 10 car lengths back, falling victim now, as you say, to Jackson Detmer to get on by. As your leader, Publicly Grant, comes in, we already saw Bailey Petrowski make his stop. Petrowski's stop, for reference, was 30 seconds. Let's keep our eye on Grant on this time around.
Yep, as we have just a touch over 20 minutes remaining in the race, a little bit under 25 here, as our leaders in GTP coming in for their second stops. That's going to move for the moment. Ben Rose back up into the lead again. Remember, he's got that he's got the 10-second penalty that is going to be assigned after the race.
I love this battle though. Leo Dragota second, Trey Divock in the lead. These guys, the Dragon Sport against the Wrong Stuff. And right now, I don't know which car that is trying to get through.
I think that's Takahashi trying to get through.
It might be. Is it? It could be. But either way, there's not much room, as Leo did not want to give any room between he and Trey Divock. But as you say, Jackson Detmer closing quickly on these guys.
Yes, he is.
You can see him. I mean, he's a second and a half back. He can almost smell draft from where he is. It is almost like, where did he come from? And I think you're right. It was the battling that these three were doing when David Payton was in there, between Divock, Dragata, and Payton. And Dragata again with a run. Can he get alongside? Remember, as we've been talking about, Detmer's right behind. If they go alongside, it's going to be easily a three-way battle. Dragata, he backs out.
Yeah, he just could not. Had a great run up through the S's, but I think, Larry, he pulled to the inside maybe just a little bit too early. And there is, actually, I think that is Petrowski that just went by, but was not able to make up any ground on Trey Divock. And once again, Detmer now is, what, I think within about a second?
Yeah,
second and a half.
1.4 maybe, 1.3, and closing quickly. And the more pressure Dragota puts on to Divock, and the more mistakes Divock makes, the better the opportunity will be for that man, Jackson Detmer, the Elevated Esports, to close up ground. We might be seeing a nose-to-tail three-way photo finish in the next 21 minutes here in GT3 AM. This is getting exciting. Meanwhile, the other excitement you talked briefly about after the Schwenke span was Iago Moraes, repulsor, who had the drive-through penalty for speeding before green flag even dropped, has retaken the lead of this race thanks to an absolute flurry of 146s that he has been putting on now for an hour and 10 minutes. It's just qualifying lap after qualifying lap at a pace that no one else can touch. Iago Moraes now leading this race in GT3. Unbelievable. So fast.
And we can see there the distance between Moraes and Rutledge. I mean, and Rutledge has had a spectacular run tonight in the Ferrari as well. but just cannot keep up with that with the same pace as his teammate. Oddly enough, though, their fast laps. One difference of 1.1 seconds. And Travis Schwenke, more issues with the rear end of the car stepping out on him as he comes through the outer loop.
Yeah, that's one of the highest speed corners you'll find anywhere. You lose the back end there, it's nothing but damage. I can't imagine that car can take that kind of beating. As he comes out right in the middle of this top 3 battle in AM, as he maybe, if the car is broken, he's going to be holding up Detmer, who's going to want to get around the Orion car quickly. And if Travis knows there's damage, he will back out. My guess is he's feeling the car right now to see what it still has in it. It seems okay now, going through 8. So far, so good. Look at Detmer, though. Late to the brakes, beautifully carving that off-camber turn 9. And Detmer can just see the battle he wants right in front of these guys with Trey Divock and Leo Dragotta, first and second in the Porsches here in GT3 AM. Travis really had a stranglehold on this race in that Audi from Orion, and now with a couple of wrecks, falling further and further back.
And contact between Detmer and Schwenke going into the 90. Detmer gets through somewhat unscathed. Schwenke pushed out a little bit wide, but
I think the brakes on that BMW really allowing Jackson to late brake all the way inside of the Audi, and that may have been what put him alongside, almost maybe to the surprise of Travis Schwenke, because it looked like Detmer's corner. Schwenke just didn't expect to see him there, and Detmer doing a great job closing up. Now he's got to work back. He had lost some gap to Divock and Dragotta. He's got to work at it again with about 18 minutes to go. He's got to work back to catch them, but not over yet in GT3 AM. 3 drivers still in contention. And should any of them falter, this guy ready to pounce.
That's right. Sitting second car in the line there is Jeff Jacobs in number 38 SCCA Foundation Ferrari. He's got Peyton in Pro ahead of him. He's got Thorman in Pro directly behind.
It's Michael Brooks actually right next to him, but I believe Brooks is down a lap.
He's down a lap.
And look at the front, the custom front end on Brooks' Porsche after the damage he took earlier in this race. I'm amazed he's out there.
And actually, he's down more than a lap. He's down 4 laps.
Yeah. As the 60th Thorman coming through. He's now, that's 4th position on Jacobs. Position overall, of course, 2 different classes. That, however, I believe is the 97 Aaron Beaver. That is for positioning class between Beaver and Jacobs, the Audi and the Lamborghini.
And the Aerokinetics car somewhat late on the brakes. Jeff Jacobs showing him a lot of deference, gave him a lot of room, while Beaver was able to keep the Audi right on the curbing through the 90, and they are side by side coming up through the S's. Look at this. This is just great.
If Jacobs, I find this a lot. I think Jacobs is one, if I got this right, is one of our triple screen drivers. I find the same issue in my triples. Side by side with somebody, and especially in a GT car like this where you get the cage around you and stuff, really hard to see the gap to somebody right next to you. And you watch them come up the S's, he was giving sometimes 2 car whiffs to the car next to him. And unfortunately, that just means you're giving up time, but it's the way it goes when you can't quite look over to that left side like you could if you're in VR. It's hard to keep track, because again, we're back to, you got the teammates here, the 64 of Peyton and the 60 of Thorman. Let's see if they do a planned swap here. Perhaps let because then you've got the several lap down car between them. He's just trying to make up some ground there. Michael Brooks has got some pace in a very unorthodox looking Porsche. Let's see if Thorman, makes that outside stick. And able to
big wiggle from Thorman too as he came out of 9.
Yeah. He's got the speed tonight. Again, he had this lead for a few moments until what we suspect was a pit lane speed violation during his pit stop caused him to come down. It's still 30 seconds down. Remember, at one point he was 40 seconds down when Schwenke was leading this race. Thorman now just 8 seconds behind Schwenke. One more incident for Schwenke. Is 3 wide into 1. I don't know.
Oh, and Jeff Jacobs goes around.
Jacobs didn't see it as he went to the inside. I don't think anybody saw him coming.
No,
wow,
Jacobs went around, and it looks like Beaver might have collected him slightly. Not that hard a hit, but a little bit of damage to the front of the aerokinetics machine. Let's take a look and see what happens.
Watch Jacobs on the inside, and Beaver's all the way to the far to the outside, and you've got Brooks there in between them, and I don't think anybody saw it. Yep.
All right, let's take a look. I think we've got another view here from the inside.
And look at Brooks is on the outside. Watch as Brooks turns in thinking there's 2. Doesn't realize that Jacobs was coming, and I think it's actually Jacobs and Brooks that come together. Yep. And Beaver was just luckily to avoid too much damage. So, the lead in GT3M is still there. D-Bach with an extra car length buffer on Leo Dragota. Jackson Detmer still working his way up to catch back up to those guys to make it the three-way battle with now 14 minutes or so left. Yalgamori is still leading over Joey Rutledge. Travis Schwenke clinging to the third and final podium position for at least the time being. Look at the dirt brought on the track there at the entrance to 11.
All right, and here is Pauliqui Grant. And Larry, I'm starting to think, well, Grant is opening up an advantage over Petrowski here. That I think even after Petrowski took his second pit stop, that is now, I think the last time I looked at it, it was about a 10-second gap, and it's now somewhere closer to 17 seconds.
Yeah, it's just Grant's consistency and his ability to pick his way through traffic. You just saw it right there as he was able to get his nose in before the next corner instead of waiting through the corner. Doing a really great job for Grant. Ben Rose, we know he's got a post-race 5-second penalty coming, so even if he's able to erase the 3-second deficit he has to Billy Petrowski, he actually needs to erase 3 and add 5 more if he's going to have a shot. There you saw the stewards are looking at the 83.38. That's the Jacobs and I believe Michael Brooks contact at 1 that we saw those replays of. We'll see if the stewards can see anything there. I don't know if they will. That looked like one of those difficult for a driver to see because of visuals, but we'll let the stewards make the official call.
And early on, before the drivers came in for their second pit stops, it actually looks like Kyle Strikers, as well as Bill Mofield, have not come in for a second stop yet. Larry, there was I think some concern that Strikers was actually in pretty close proximity to Rose after that incident, but Rose is now stretched out to almost a 40-second advantage over Kyle Strikers, so that'll cover for that 10-second post-race penalty.
Right. But if Rose has any sights on finishing second, he's going to have to pass Petrowski and find another 5 seconds.
Number of seconds. Was the penalty 5 seconds or 10 seconds?
I believe it was a 5. Yeah. Aaron Beaver doing what he can to try and catch back up to the Detmer battle for third, but right now he might just be doing what he can to hold on to fourth in the GT3 AM. This is our battle. This is our AM battle. Dre Divock now with 11 minutes to go. Half a second, just say it's car lengths maybe on Leo Dragota. Is that lead between them? Jackson Detmer has not made up any ground the last few laps. He's hovering at that 2-second mark. We'll see if he can. And all it's going to come down to me is if Leo Dragota starts pressuring Dre Divock again.
Right, and which will probably bring Detmer right back into the fight almost immediately.
He just hasn't in the last little bit. Maybe he's kind of resting up for a last bit charge here in the last 6-7 laps. If that's the case, it's going to be go time here anytime. He's starting to get close back up. He's right there within about a car length and a half. And they're in similar cars, which is always neat to kind of have that battle. Of course, it is open setup. They could have slightly different ways of getting there, but the fact they're in the same kind of platform, the cars have equal sort of strengths in the way they plant and the way they enter corners. So I love seeing those kind of battles. The odd man out here is going to be Jackson Detmer, who is maybe finally closing at 1.6 back in that BMW. See if he can make a run at these two, and if that kind of car is going to create opportunities to pass, or if the Porsche's ability to exit corners helps to negate any advantage of draft.
Here we go again as they come up through the S's, and Drago. You know, Larry, notice this the last couple of laps. Dragota on the last bit of the S's before things flatten out and they get onto the straightaway here. He seems to lose maybe a half to a full car length, and I don't know what the reasoning is. Maybe the way the ring is, the wing is trimmed out. I'm not sure. It's just mystifying, because you'd think usually you come up through the S's and you're pretty firmly in the draft there, and you almost get a slingshot past on the back straight, and Dragota just isn't getting it here. As look at this, Larry. Ben Rose is now pulled up right to the back of Bailey Petrowski. So you know, we'll see that maybe that 5-second or 10-second penalty as it may be.
Petrowski knows that penalty is there, and if he's got a spotter helping him, he'll know. Or if he made a note of the announcement earlier in the race, then he'd be best to just hold up Ben as long as he can. But if he does get by, stay in his draft, stay within that 5 seconds.
Just stay with him.
Yeah, but holding it up is not a terrible thing right now, because that'll just kill a clock. It's sort of like the old four-corner Dean Smith offense, where you just sort of hold clock and let the ball spin in the corners. That's basically what Bailey Petrowski needs to be doing right now to Ben Rose, is basically just playing keep away.
All right, as we have just under 8 minutes remaining, the clock seemingly picking up some pace, Larry. All right,
you live down there on Tobacco Road. You get a little basketball reference.
Of course I do. Of course I do. Whether it be UNC, whether it be Duke. Oh, and here they come side by side now as they go into the chute and head down towards the toe of the boot.
Great opportunity, but look at this lap traffic of the John Casey car. Great move for Ben Rose, taking the opportunity. Now he's got to go find 5 seconds. Petrowski's got to stay with him at almost any cost, unless he loses a position on the track. This could be a fun one to see to the end.
As far as their overall fast lap times, within a couple hundredths of a second of one another. We'll have to see how it plays out here on track. Is Dre Divock starting to stretch out his advantage over Dragota. But look at this, Larry, as Jackson Detmer has pulled up right to the back of the 118 machine. He is right there in the fight for at least the silver.
Well, we know that Porsches often eat front tires, and I'm wondering if perhaps the aggression of Leo Dragota is starting to come to bite him here at the end of the race, or maybe he's worn the tires completely off of that thing. And Jackson Detmer's BMW is saying, I still feel pretty good. I can go another 8 minutes here. You know, like, is the difference between a 12-round or an 8-round boxing match? You get into rounds 9 and 10, and suddenly you're just looking for your corner man to throw you a bone. And Detmer right now is saying, I'm good for 12 rounds. Let's go, kid. And he's pushing. For the bad sports reference. I'll keep throwing them out there until one of them hooks.
Thank you.
The last 3 miles of a marathon. I could go all night on these. The final stages of the Tour de France. Come on, that's at least timely.
Yeah, yes, that one's the very timely.
And it's a race. Jackson Detmer, though, has been very quick. His last time by was in the 46s, a 46.7. Leo Dragota's a 47.1. Those 4.10s are becoming crucial now as we're about 6 minutes away from the end of this race. I'm seeing checkered flag. Of course, it's all going to depend on where race leader at this point. It's probably Clee Grant. Where he is where they decide to wave that checkered flag. But right now, Leo Dragota is going to do anything he can to save this car and to save the spot to try and hold down the second podium position in GT3 AM. Jackson Detmer is saying, you know, that second spot would seem pretty good right about now.
Yes, I bet it would. now under 5 minutes remaining.
Curious in our standings coming into tonight, where were these drivers? Of course, Dre Divock was sitting in second spot with 99 points, a pretty good amount of points behind Michael Brooks, who's not going to have a strong finish tonight. Leo Dragotta was fifth with 84 points.
And actually tied for fifth with Jeff Jacobs.
Yeah.
And we know Chuck Labano had the early out, so he was about look at this, 11 points. 13 points up on Dragotta.
Yeah, and Jackson Detmer, highest finish this season was a 4th. Other than that, he's got a whole bunch of 11ths. So this has been a strong performance for Detmer, sitting currently in 3rd now with 4 minutes to go. This would go a long way to making up points here for him, because now he can start to drop some of those 11s and replace it with something like a 3rd or possibly even a 2nd. This could go a long way for Detmer to getting up to challenging with, if I got this right, Detmer's got a 12th, an 11th, a 4th, and 11th. He's a point behind John Casey. He's 2 points behind Greg Brockway. And he's all of about 3 points or 4 points behind Baron Glover.
Both Glover and Beaver, who are tied, I think.
So keep your eye on this guy.
Maybe I'm the one who needs the reading glasses to 78 and 76.
You want my grandson to bring you yours? As you
yes,
be able
please.
To bring mine?
He'll start collecting.
There's a callback for you. You got to go back to listen to hour 1 if you want that reference.
Yes.
Leo Dragotta, look at this, though, as he's losing ground clearly to Divock. He's driving to his mirrors, or the car just doesn't have tire under it. Detmer now 4/10 back, 3 minutes around or so to go. And I don't know, that's maybe only 2 laps. We'll see where publicly Grant is. Grant is far from these guys. In fact,
the 414 machine of Reisman and the 60 of Thorman had a little coming together.
Where is Grant, in fact? He's right behind these guys, I believe.
I was just going to say, Larry, I'm showing that he's got
there he is.
9/10 of a lap through. Yeah, he's directly behind him coming out of turn 11 now.
Yep, which tells me I would bet we're going to get right around 2 more laps. You should see a white flag next time by. Which means these guys in front of him are basically going to get those 2 laps. That's all they're going to get, because he's about to put them another lap down. So let's keep our eye now. Can Jackson Detmer use those 2 laps and get himself a 2nd spot on the podium? Or can Leo Dragotta in Dragon Sport Racing hang on to the 2nd spot? This is going to be an exciting finish between these 2.
All right, and Ryan Reisman in the 414 Cadillac just given a drive-through penalty. There for contact with David Payton in the number 64 machine.
It's unfortunate. Look at this, Dragotta. And what tells me it's the tires going off is it seems to be a little bit in each corner.
Thorman, not Payton.
Oh, okay. But Dragotta seems to be little here, little there. It's a 1/2 tenth in this corner, 1/2 tenth in that corner. You do this 11 times, and suddenly you've got a couple tenths down per lap. And I think that's what's going on. He's not doing anything terrible. There's not any big mistakes. He just isn't fast. He's not the fast that he was when he was pressuring D-Box about 20 minutes ago. Dragotta, he's just trying to save this car to the end. And with, let's say around 14 corners left in the race, let's see if he's got enough to hang on, because Detmer looks quick. Oh, Detmer to the wall, though.
Did Detmer get into the wall there coming out of 10? Or coming out of 9? Yeah, yes. He certainly did.
And he's got the battle behind him. He's got Travis Schwenke right behind him.
I'm saying, I think Schwenke did the exact same thing, Larry, and followed him right into the Armco.
Hopefully that didn't hurt Detmer's car. There's the white flag in the air. Thank you, Barney. As the white flag says, we've got one more time around. Can Detmer get back up there, or did that little touch of the wall ruin his chances for a 2nd step on this podium in GT3M?
And Larry should just also note, because Ben Rose had driven through here, and there's Bailey Petrowski trying to get around Detmer as well, that the gap in GTP between Rose and Petrowski is just at about 3 seconds now.
Oh, it's coming up to 4, because, Petrowski just got stuck behind the battles of GT3s. This is working out great for Ben Rose. There's Petrowski now as they've got about a mile and a half of this race left, and Petrowski's suddenly in desperation mode to be the beneficiary of that 5-second penalty and get back into second. But Ben Rose is doing what he needs to do, opening it up. He's got 5 seconds as it sits with 3 corners to go.
And there is Palakui Grant, our leader here in GTP, and he's got just 2 corners remaining as, well, make it 1 corner. He's led from the start of the race. Your pole sitter tonight, he led going into turn 1 and coming across the line and taking your win in GTP for, I believe, his 3rd win of the season from D2D E-Racing. It's Palakui Grant. Ben Rose now coming out of the final corner, and we'll continue to watch the clock. The gap is 5.09 seconds currently, Larry, as he crosses the stripe.
It looks like 5.1 between Rose and Petrowski, if my math is correct. And that might mean Rose hangs on to second. Petrowski is going to remain in third as Iago Mores makes one of those recovery drives to win this thing in GT3 Pro after a penalty early, comes back to win. Unbelievable. Can't wait to talk to him. Trey Divock, actually his teammate from the wrong stuff, taking the win in AM. So great night for those guys covering both AM and Pro and GT3. Trey Divock holding off Leo Dragota holding off Detmer for second and third, respectively, in AM. Fun race.
Like and Schwenke, after that late spin or mid-race spin, comes home 3rd in Pro.
Great
All
race.
right, so Larry, let's do this. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll recap the finish here, and we'll talk to some of our podium finishers from Watkins Glen International, where you've just seen round number 6 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge, presented by Proforma Elite and Buttkicker here on Apex Racing TV. We'll be right back.
Extreme Scoring to do the work for you.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
And welcome back to Watkins Glen International and the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge, presented by Proforma Elite and Buttkicker here on Apex Racing TV. I'm Greg Ginsburg, along with Larry Lefty McLeod. And Larry, let's go and recap the finish here. We'll take a look. Taking the win in GTP is Palakui Grant, with Ben Rose finishing in second. Bailey Petrowski finishing in third, and just off the podium, Ryan Reisman and Kyle Strikers. And again, I think the question is going to be that penalty, that post-race penalty to Ben Rose. If it's 5 seconds, he just eked out second place by about 1/10 of a second. If it's 10, well, he's in third. All right, let's move over to GT3 AM, where Dre Divock from The Wrong Stuff took the win. And then the Dragon Sport driver Leo Dragata finishes in second, and then Elevated Esports BMW driver Jackson Detmer comes home in third, with Aaron Beaver and Baron Glover rounding out your top 5. And then finally in GT3 Pro, taking the win for The Wrong Stuff is Yago Mores, and what a recovery drive for him, as he was hit with a 10-second, with a drive-through penalty right from the drop of the green flag, Brian, right at the start. Larry, yep. Hey, it's only happened once tonight. That's good. But as he got the drive-through penalty right off the bat, but he works his way right back to the lead and the win. Joey Rutledge, his The Wrong Stuff Racing teammate, finishing in second. Travis Schwenke from Orion finishing in third, with Thorman and Payton from D2D finishing just off the podium. All right, let's take a look and see. I think we've got a full house sitting in the green room. Larry, let's do this. Why don't we bring in, let's start off with GT3 AM tonight, and we are going to bring in Leonardo Dragata, finishing second tonight in GT3 AM.
All right, so Leo is joining us in here, and I tell you what a race you put on. You and Dre Divock were battling for about the last hour of that race, and then suddenly you find yourself with a battle coming up behind you at Jackson Detmer. Did you have anything left in that car to help you hold on to that position?
No. Before I pitted, the meatball flag came up, and this happened a long while ago too, where I think it's like a puncture, like you run the tires too long, and that's what happened at the end. So I didn't get the meatball flag, but I felt it coming, so I just tried to hold my position and just let Divock run away with it. But
yeah, well, awesome job to hang on to it, because Jackson Detmer was definitely the faster driver toward the end, but your positioning of the car and your ability to hold that position and just focus on getting there gives you that spot in the end. But that middle part of the race between the two of you, and I think you had David Payton was in there, right? You were all over the place. That pushing of that car, that ultimately you think maybe take those tires down in this long format race?
I think definitely. And then me and Divock went at it again after we got past them. I think that was the most where the tires took, when we were trying to get past the pro car.
Yeah. Well, a great finish for you up here on the podium in second spot. Well earned. You showed great racecraft tonight, great car control, and then ultimately great way to bring the car home to the second spot. But I'm sure, you're not a one-man team there at Dragon Sport. You've got some folks you want to give a thanks to for helping you get this podium.
Yeah, Lucas, I want to give a thanks to for being my teammate and doing this with me. You guys, with this awesome stream that you do every Monday for TCC and RWC, those series I'm in. And I guess everyone else at the league and everyone racing tonight, just fun, and really enjoyed it today.
Well, it was a great race, and you were definitely one of the most entertaining parts of it to watch. Leo Dragota finishing second in the AM category at GT3. Congrats.
Thank you.
All right, thanks so much for Leo Dragata. And Larry, can I tell you how much more mature he sounds now than at the beginning of the season? He sounds at least half a year older. All right, let's go and move on to our winner in GT3 AM, driving for The Wrong Stuff. It's Dre Divock.
All right, Dre Divock with us, and look at this, a well-earned victory. You had fights all over the place, in front of you, behind you. The action was all over the place. The battle of you and Leo, we just talked to him. Basically, he drove the tires off trying to get around you. How much did your car have left at the end? You've got to be exhausted for this victory.
Oh man, I'm so exhausted. He's right though. That was a crazy battle. I did everything I could just to try to keep him behind me. Made a mistake. Was able to pass him up, and the car got real sketchy late. But then all of a sudden, I got just a hair more grip out of the tires like with the last four laps to go, so everything felt really good. But man, that was insane.
Yeah, absolutely. How crazy was the first third of this race with 35 cars out there? It seemed like every other time you take a lap, you've got GTPs trying to get around you guys. Was it strictly just keep your head on a swivel and survive until the field sort of thins out? Or are you actually trying to strategically hold position and be fast at that stage too?
My goal this race was I wasn't going to worry about tires because tires were going to go off anyway. So I'm not going to sit back and baby them. I just pushed as hard as I could. And definitely kept my head on a swivel, so these GTPs just come flying out of nowhere at times, and just got to make sure you're not bumping into them. And yeah, that was still a little sweaty, but that was nuts. It was crazy. I can't believe the battles we had. Me, Leo. I'm surprised I even got third overall. That was crazy for me to even see.
Yeah, unbelievable. Third overall, takes the win in the AM category. That's going to do wonders for your points here, as we'll add them up at some point here tonight. So Dre, a great return night, and for the Wrong Stuff team, pretty solid evening as well. We got a couple of your teammates to talk to here in a few minutes, but I'm sure you got some folks you want to thank for helping you get this victory tonight.
Yeah, thank all our sponsors, Dangerous, WC 91 liveries for the awesome liveries, UB Safe, Buttkicker, Maconia, Bruising, and Simdesk Motion helping us out, and also my teammates for getting together and just practicing our butts off until we get it down. So,
well, you definitely got it down tonight. A great victory for you here in the GT3 AM, and a great podium on the overall as well. I can't look past that. Awesome night for you, Dre. Congrats.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, there you go, Dre Divock. Let's move over now, Larry, and we'll head over to GT3 Pro. And let's start off with Joey Rutledge, one of Dre's The Wrong Stuff teammates, finishing second tonight in Pro.
Joey Rutledge, you find yourself in that Ferrari in a whole lot of different battles at various stages of this race. At what point did you finally click and you said, I got a shot at podium into this thing?
Well, you know what? At one point, I mean, honestly, it was kind of like a battlefield out there. Really only looked at the relative for the seconds, was not looking at the positions. And one of my teammates goes, "What are you worried about? You're in third." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So yeah, that's kind of how it went.
So yeah, it really was. Somebody had to point it out to you because there was so much chaos. You almost just wouldn't even be able to know. But as you settled in, as you got into that last 20 minutes, you got a chance at this. Travis Schwenke was having his issues keeping the car under him, put you in that position. And I saw it even at some point, you had teammate Yago going around you. All that happening, you've got to be kind of watching that math. You're also watching what Yago's doing in his special night. We're going to obviously talk to him about. How hard is it to keep track of any of that?
You really do need to be, you need 100% focus at this track, but you need to somehow find another 15% to put towards the actual race engineering because there was so much going on tonight, like I said. And I mean, look, I have to, before we run out of time, I have to give credit to Yago tonight, coming back from a drive-through, unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to hear from him as he had a heck of a special night and the pace that he put down. And really, for your whole team tonight, we just got done talking to Dre and his win on the M category. The Wrong Stuff really had a great night. You're out there in this Ferrari, and you got all these teammates running over there in their Porsches. Are you finding you just like the Ferrari? Is it just have a special place for you? Or you think maybe you wish you'd gone Porsche this season?
I love the Ferrari. The reason I'm running it is because I had this livery commissioned, and this is WC91 liveries, and I just paid too much money, and I don't want to buy another one. So I figure when I get to the point where it's truly holding me back, we'll think about it. But they'll probably make a new one of these soon, so we'll switch them.
That is a great reason. I love that. But it does look good, I will say. It is one of the best liveries we've got in the season, so very, very cool. And tonight, that livery and everything carries you to a second place finish overall and in that pro category. And I'm sure you got some folks that helped you get here along the way, maybe even somebody who put your livery together.
Oh, definitely. No, first of all, I'd like to thank TWS, give again one more shout out to Yago, and then of course we have UB Safe, Maconi Setup Shop, we have Buttkicker, Sim Motion, SR4S, and everybody on the team that helps us prepare for these every week, and of course you guys. Thank you.
Well, awesome. Congrats tonight on that second place finish. Joey Rutledge from The Wrong Stuff.
Thank you.
All right, Larry, so that leaves one more GT3 driver for us to talk about, and it's Joey's teammate. Actually, let's get Joey out of the commentary box. Let's bring in his teammate, and that is Yago Moraes.
Iago Mores, you put down an amazing qualifying time to put on pole that no one could touch. The race starts, and they say you're too fast, even before the green flag, and you have to serve this drive-through penalty. And we all thought, well, there he goes, there goes the race. And suddenly we find that you're flying, and we're keeping an eye on you, and you come back all the way down, I don't even know how, maybe 30 seconds down to come back and win this thing, going away. Iago, where did you find this speed this week? That was amazing.
Yeah, the start of the race is not my planning, but I have the speed from the stop. I love this track. I love so much this track.
Yeah.
And the Porsche is so flying. So I keep pushing, and so the results coming.
Yeah, it was like you were in a different level tonight than anybody else. Your speed was just off the charts. And you seem to even be able to work with all of your Wrong Stuff teammates as you would come through the pack, whether it was Dre or whether it was Joey, and they would help you get on by and give you a shot to get back to the front. Or those guys really seem to be a big part of helping you get back to the front and winning this race, I'm sure.
Yeah, of course. We have a great teamwork. So a special thank you for us.
Yeah, awesome work tonight. Anyone else you want to give a thanks to for this victory tonight?
Thanks for my girlfriend, my team, and my family. So emotional.
Yeah, well, you definitely deserve it, and emotions are a wonderful thing to have. You dominated tonight. This is a beautiful thing to watch. You're going to want to go back and savor this one. Congrats, Iago. Celebrate tonight and enjoy this one.
Thanks a lot.
All right, there you go. Iago Mores, your winner tonight in GT3 Pro. And so, Larry, let's now move over to our GTP field. Finishing second tonight, driving the number 5 BMW for DNA Motorsports, it's Ben Rose. And I've got to grab him. Hold on. There we go. Ben Rose.
All right. Ben Rose joining us here. And Ben, we're pretty sure you ended up in second spot. You had to have that 5-second post-race penalty. And I think by about 1/10 of a second, you finished second here. But what a crazy night, including the contact that led to that penalty. How did this all play out from your side and this crazy night?
Oh, I can't believe it. Well, the incident, that was totally my fault. I braked somewhat a little too late, and I basically understeered into Grant, and I'm glad that he didn't suffer. But then when I tried to get back on the track on the following left-hander, the tires were extremely hot. I didn't realize it, and then I kind of almost spun, and I kind of had to wait for traffic to pass by, and I think I lost possibly 12 seconds. So that could have been the time where him and I could have maybe had a good fight towards the end. But oh man, that when I saw the 5 seconds, I thought to myself, it's push to hell after the second pit stop, and whatever happens.
Yeah, and that was a tough one to see. You guys had a really good battle going. It looked like it was going to be down to a good finish, but yeah, those things do happen. It is a part of motorsports, but a really great recovery. We had thought perhaps it was damage to your car when we saw you spin the next corner there in 9, that maybe you weren't going to be able to recover, but you settled in, you kept on pushing, didn't worry too much about Petrowski. When you caught up to him, he wasn't able to hold you up too long, you got him by. When you get by Bailey, are you watching that delta? Are you doing everything you can to maybe force GT3 cars between you to open that up a little bit?
It's like looking at your tax returns. That's how I was looking at it. I was making sure that, it was growing. It was 1.5, 1.6. It held there. Then it went to 2.0. And I was like, okay, maybe. Then he went to 3. And then the last 2 laps, he caught bad traffic, and I just managed to escape. I was, flashing like,
yeah.
like I was out of nowhere at night, trying to find somebody to help me. And my overlay says that I finished by 5.06. So when I saw that, I was like, yes.
Yeah, it was definitely close. Nearly photo finish, just 5 seconds apart. but you come home in second spot. What a crazy, crazy night! But at the end of the day, you're going to get the second place points, which are well needed in this tough league for you. And so I'm sure you got some folks you want to thank for this podium finish tonight.
Yes, as my teammate always says, the wife. Can't forget her. The support that she provides. Ryan, he's been great helping out. We've been working so hard on the setup for this particular track, which showed because he finished 4th. So awesome result for both of us and my teammates, and that's it. I mean, that's it. It's just great, and you guys for always having a great show. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for the kind words. And tonight, you ended up on the podium. Your teammate helping you out there. Of course, your better half, always the biggest teammates you've got. But congrats from DNA Motorsports. Ben Rose taking home second spot in GTP.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.
All right, there you go, Ben Rose. Let's move on now, Larry, to our overall winner tonight, driving for D2D Motorsport, or D2D E-Racing, and I believe with his 3rd win of the season tonight, Palakui Grant.
All right, Palakui, you've got yourself another victory. This one again, as they all are, very hard earned. You're up, you're chased. You go back up again, you're chased, there's even contact, and you continue to bounce back from all those to earn this victory. From your point of view, how much of that was just stress, and how hard did you have to work to overcome all of it to get the win?
To be honest, if I wanted a championship run, I wouldn't want it any other way. Given what's been going on so far and how close we are, this was a critical race to really capitalize on the momentum coming in from my last win. So the pressure was definitely on, and every time it just seemed when I could get a little bit of a gap, traffic would come through. I would get caught up in the apex, and there was Bailey and there was Ben, and they were right behind me, pushing me along all the way. So, hard fought win. I wouldn't want it any other way. And yeah, unfortunate with a couple of incidents in there, but otherwise it's just keeping it in there and just keeping as calm as I could possibly be.
Yeah, you were totally just cool with all of it tonight. Even after the contact, just picked right back up, kept on going. Car didn't appear to have any sort of damage on it, luckily for either of you, but it led to a beautiful win for you here tonight at one of my favorite tracks, and you seem to be pretty comfortable out there as well. But I'm sure you got some folks you want to thank for the victory here tonight.
Yes, of course. I mean, first off, the Sakurai, I gotta give him a big shout out. I'm actually going to be moving to Michigan over the next couple of months, and so I may be out of racing after this season, but I got to give a big shout out to him because it's another big start in my life, and I can't wait for it. Of course, my grandparents, Papa and Tutu, I love you, my 3 brothers, and of course, my D2D E-Racing team. Bobby made it past the first lap this time, and I'm super happy for him. Yeah. Unfortunately, got caught up in, I think, a bus stop incident, and that thing's such a killer on this track. But you know what? I'll take the progress, and, he's got the pace. He's just got to bring it home, and we'll work on it. So you better watch out. He's going to be getting up there. And then, of course, finally, I also want to give a big thanks to one of my other teams that I was with last week. Bluey Motorsports gave me a shot with Assetto Corsa Competizione. I butchered that pronunciation. I'm sorry. But anyways, I've had a lot of fun with them, and I wanted to give them a big shout out. Suzuka, you're awesome. So, yeah, that's it.
Well, congrats, Palakui Grant. Another victory for you. I believe 3rd on the season. Championship's getting close to the finish line, and you've got a nose ahead. We'll see if you can hang on to that in a couple weeks when we get down to it. When you get up to Michigan, maybe look me up. I'm up in this way as well. It's not a terrible place to be, but it's not Hawaii.
If you don't mind freezing to death, yeah.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing I got to get used to, but I'm sure I can. But yes, anyways, everyone watching, tune in. It's going to be one heck of a finale battle with I'm expecting a 3-way fight, so Can't wait for it. And anyways, aloha, ahuiho, see you guys next time, and look out, here we come.
All right, thanks, Palakui. Great, your winner tonight, GTP.
All right, let's bring him down back to the green room there. All right, so Larry, we've the admins have already put together the point standings, and although there aren't any changes up at the top of GTP or GT3 AM, there is definitely a huge change in GT3 Pro. And if you thought Iago Mores was emotional during the interview when he won the race tonight, when he finds out that he's your championship leader going into the final round, he's going to be very emotional.
I love it. It's going to be so exciting next time. Oh, I can't wait.
I'm sorry, Mores jumped 2 spots, and I'm sorry, Mike, if you're still in the chat there. Mike Dam drops from the lead down into 3rd with Travis Schwenke sitting behind. All right, so let's wrap things up here from Watkins Glen International, Larry, and we'll take a look at what we have coming up over the next few weeks in the different Ricmotech series. Starting with next week, July 31st, we're going to have rounds 9 and 10 of the Ricmotech Touring Car Cup. That's for our GR86 Cup cars and Mazda MX-5 Cup cars as well. We're going to be at Mount Panorama at Bathurst for 2 30-minute races, and that track is always wild. Back in previous years when we were running just the MX-5s, it was neat. I can only imagine what it will be like with 2 different, actually 4 different classes, 2 different types of cars, and all running very similar pace. It should be neat, with an inverted start for the second race, which is going to make it even more challenging. Then in 2 weeks, August 7th, it is the finale, round number 7 of season 7 of the Ricmotech World Challenge, and we are going to be at the National Park of Speed. Our GT3 and GTP cars battling it out for 75 minutes to wrap up the season, and then finally I guess running about just about a month from now, maybe it's 3 weeks, maybe it's 4, I don't know, I can't do math, August 21st, it is going to be the return of the Ricmotech Sports Car Series for our GT4 and also TCR cars, and I'm getting word that we will likely have the LMP3 cars there as well. And we have a venue. We are going to be starting off the season with a 60-minute race from Virginia International Raceway. So I urge you all to join us over the next couple of weeks for some more very exciting racing. All right, so for Larry Lefty McLeod, Grandpa Larry, I'm Greg Ginsburg. Thanks so much to Lee Thompson back behind the scenes there, getting us through it with all the foolish stuff that we say all night long. And we'll see you next Monday night at 8 p.m. from Mount Panorama. Have a wonderful time, everybody.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.